So, you guys, I hope that you are feeling lucky today because we are going with another Moo After Dark live. I don't know if I would want to
Path, you booked the wrong cinema.
It's actually raining.
No, this is scary. What? I want to go to this actually. Is this real? Wait. Just imagine putting some popcorn into your mouth and then suddenly you're choking because the 5D or whatever it is. No. Okay.
Where did you just come from?
All right, here we go. Here's the scary
Oh
stuff.
my goodness.
Did you see my other two guys? What?
What?
Did you see my other two guys? Did we see your other two guys? No. You're supposed to go that way.
No, we're not supposed to go that way.
No. Want to meet them?
No, we don't want to meet
No, nobody
them.
wants
How
to
about
meet them.
not? I don't know.
If you go the other way, you don't gotta go over the tree.
I don't know, it sounds like she's gargling water.
Blah, blah.
Something over the tree. Oh my goodness.
What?
I thought that was somebody else. She's trying to speak to our channel right now.
YouTubers, should I wear my orange outfit with this? Or the blue? Oh my
Are you
god.
kidding me right
Is
now?
that a
She's asking
mimic?
People for what? Oh, why am I? Help me! Oh my goodness! Can't get over that. No. She said, "Here I come." She said, "What?" Oh my god! I don't. My pants are wet.
Oh my god. Well, you been playing in the water again?
What does he mean his pants are wet?
Or did you pee your pants?
Man, she switched her voice.
Really fast.
Yeah. Oh my god. She loves doing that. You just come.
Okay. What is this?
If you think that this is a simulation that we're living in, then you need to see this. So it's a guy on here saying that he cracked the code. He found out that we're living in a 300,000 year long experiment run by advanced civilization. And he believes that each and every one of us here has metadata. And we all have specific things that we're here for. Mind you, after he found out this information, he quit his job. He's giving away his degree. And he's showing you how to figure out your own metadata. You don't believe me, right? Look at this shit.
I am
Listen.
giving away my degree for free. If your name is Daniel William Schmidt,
Listen.
I will personally mail you this. It's an economics degree, one of the best in the world. You can get any job you want.
Get to the
I got
point.
a job in finance. I quit my job because I realized that we are living in a 300,000 year long experiment.
Listen.
Run by an advanced civilization, and all of us have metadata. If you take your full name and your date of birth,
Look.
you can find your metadata. I calculated mine and I started
Look.
crying because it was just so unbelievably
Interesting.
accurate. And I realized that every single person has this, and that means we must be in an experiment. Every person is a different trial, and the civilization running this experiment is using this data to perfect their own society.
He goes on to say that we all have an encoded purpose, and his purpose is to build his own America, and that's exactly what he said he's about to do. I'm gonna leave y'all with this.
At the top, you have God. God created what I call Civilization 1, and then Civilization 1 created the experiment we're in,
Right.
which is us. So I'm working on a new civilization because I realized that my purpose is to create America 2, because America 1 has served its
Wow.
purpose.
What?
Please help me get rid of this degree.
I'm out.
Because this is America 1.
He's ill. I don't know what she's doing in that water, but there could be some alligators.
According to a follower who worked on an oil rig out in the Gulf, he said there are things living or moving out in the open ocean that don't show up on any maps, sonar, or any type of training manuals. Now, this story was sent to me by a guy named Tyler, and according to him, he spent almost 4 years working offshore on an oil rig out in the Gulf. And he said before taking the job, he expected the typical things like storms, equipment failures, long shifts, isolation, missing his kids. But what he never expected was to be genuinely afraid of what was beneath the water. Not, more than any other normal person is of weird things, right? But Tyler said one of the first things that you learn while working offshore is that the ocean at night has a whole different feel to it. And anybody that was in the Navy or been on a cruise ship, because once the sun disappears, you're standing on a steel platform hundreds of miles from land with nothing around you except that black water stretching out to the horizon forever. No lights, no roads, no houses, no noise, just complete darkness and silence. And according to Tyler, after midnight, the ocean almost seems to come alive in its own creepy way. The first strange thing that he noticed happened during his second month while working out there. It was around 2 a.m, and he had stepped outside during a break to smoke a cigarette and watch the waves go by. And that's when he saw it. It was a light deep beneath the water. Not like bioluminescence or not like a reflection of anything. He said it was a single bright blue light moving quickly beneath the surface. And at first he thought maybe it was like a large fish, maybe the way the moonlight was hitting the water, until it suddenly changed direction, like straight upward, and stopping only a few feet beneath the rig. And Tyler said it hovered there for a little bit and it was perfectly still, just watching. And then it shot off into the darkness faster than anything he'd ever seen move underwater like that. And he later had asked one of the older workers about it, and the man simply just laughed at him and said, "Oh, so you've seen them?" And Tyler was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And the older worker just shrugged it off, and he's like, well, it just depends on who you ask. Some call them spirits, others call them the visitors. Most of us just don't talk about them. He's like, you'll just learn to just deal with it. And at first, Tyler assumed they were maybe messing with the new guy. It's pretty typical. Until the noises started. And he said around 4 a.m, they'd occasionally hear sounds coming from below the rig. Not like any whales or dolphins or machinery. He described them as long, mournful calls, almost like someone singing underwater.
Yeah.
Sometimes it sounded feminine, and other times it sounded almost mechanical, but not the rig itself. He said there's a very clear distinction. And other times, like he said, it just sounded like metal groaning from somewhere deep below. And every single time that those noises would happen, the ocean around the platform became unnaturally calm. There were no waves, no wind, just nothing, just complete silence, he said. And Tyler said one of the creepiest incidents happened about a year into the job. And one night, several workers were gathered around the railing after hearing splashing coming from underneath. and they expected to see, dolphins or, maybe like a school of, sharks or whatever. But instead, they saw multiple lights moving beneath their platform. And there were dozens of them. They were blue, they were green, they were white, and they were all swimming in circles around the support legs of the rig. And it was way too coordinated, he said, for it to be fish, or way too fast for it to be divers or anything else. And one of the younger workers joked that maybe there were secret military drones underneath, but nobody laughed it off, because one of the oldest rig workers standing nearby, he made a comment. He said something along the lines of like, well, they're back earlier than usual this year. And Tyler, being new, had asked him, like, what do you mean by that? And the guy kind of like waved it off and refused to answer. He didn't really want to talk about it anymore. And then he walked back inside, and the lights remained there for almost 20 minutes afterwards. They were circling, they were stopping, moving again, and almost as if they were inspecting the structure itself. And then all at once, they just disappeared straight down into the darkness. He said it looked like they just took a plummeting dive down. And Tyler says people still tell him, maybe he was probably tired. People that don't work on the rig say that. Maybe overworked, imagining things, but he swears on everything that he saw those lights and he knows that they're real. And according to him, about 6 months before leaving the rig, he woke up one morning after work, and he was working all night, and he woke up and he stepped outside of his little cabin, and 30 feet above the ocean was a wet human-like handprint on the window, his window, pressed against the glass from the outside. There's no way to access it from the bottom. And he says he never found out who or what left it there, but whatever lives beneath those rigs, he said, knows when you're watching, and he said eventually they probably start watching back. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
That's a bit creepy.
What's that? Oh, the CIA released a document saying that the Earth is a hologram. Imagine that. And that we can access superhuman abilities. And they explain how in this document. Tell me more! Yeah, you heard that right. According to the CIA released document, they explain how humans can access superhuman ability. Now, the way they say that you can do this is by going through Hemisync. Oh, what's Hemisync, you ask? Well, it's basically getting your brain synced up together so that both parts of the brain are in harmony. Okay. So how do we do that? Oh, well, what you do is you have to have a frequency playing in each ear, but a different frequency on each ear between 3 and 7 hertz. Okay? The document states that basically once you have this Hemisync, you are able to basically do anything in this hologram. I love it.
Let me get the Hemisync then.
I'm a member of the Flat Earth. You ready?
Ready? Oh,
I'm American Oz pilot. I'm a member of the Flat Earth Society.
God bless you, brother. Wow, the truth. I love it. Mwah.
How long have you been a pilot for? 43 years. Wow. What shape is the planet?
Flat.
You're the pilot?
Hi.
How long have you been flying for?
Like for Delta, 21 years, but maybe like 30 something.
I want to know, because they say the pilots know a lot. Do you think the Earth is flat or no?
I know it's flat.
You know it's flat?
He knows it's flat.
And ice wall? What's beyond the ice wall?
You get to that, and if you go down, and then gravity works in a different direction. So when it rains, it doesn't fall on the floor. It falls up.
Is there another world beyond the ice wall? Wow.
A freaking portal. A portal that was created in a man's bedroom by him. Did you guys see it? Okay, just watch. I'm going to play the video and keep watching afterwards because I have investigated some of the things that are present in his video. Let's talk about it.
A much more stable fracture. Okay. I have to do this quick because this stuff does not last. 525. You can see there's a whole range of tones here, but 525, you're going to hear the fluctuation there. There we go.
No way. What? You just opened a portal? Is he gonna go through it? I would go through it.
If you don't know where that is, I do. Is in Sedona. And it is a well-known vortex phenomenon. There's several of them there, and you are witnessing a gate, portal, wormhole, stargate, whatever you want to call it, from this bedroom to...
Okay, first of all, I want y'all to do all the things to the side. Make sure that you share this thing out or repost it, save it, leave a 5-word comment, and double tap the screen. Also, follow me if you're not. Question number 1, do you guys feel that this is real? A lot of people are stating they feel like that the powers that be put AI into effect for all of us so that we can't truly determine if something is real or AI.
I think it was
Number
real.
2, whenever I watch this video, one thing that I noticed is that when he stepped away from the quote-unquote portal and went to his computer, it was on the screen and it said online tone generator. Well, of course, you know I looked it up. And y'all, let's get into what I found. Now, apparently this is a real site. And on the site, you can increase or decrease the hertz. You can play it continuously. You can stop it. I scrolled on down just to see. Now, number 1, it is letting you know you can hurt your hearing if you're not doing this properly. Number 2, it gave different reasons that people can use this. Science experiments. Alzheimer's is potentially a cure and some other stuff. But y'all, it's actually a real site and that's not AI. Ultimately, if this is the video that I watched a while back and it's coming back into circulation, word on the street is that this man is missing. Anyway, if y'all want me to do a part 2 and try and find out, is this guy still missing or what's going on? Leave a comment and let me know. Until then, stay curious. Y'all let me know what you think.
Tell me the real reason you think CERN is shut down for maintenance or an upgrade.
Here's the clean spiritual read. The real reason CERN is shut down right now goes beyond just technical maintenance. From the ether, this long shutdown is a forced pause in one of the mimic's most powerful artificial frequency tools. While it's offline, the constant low-level interference it creates in the planetary field is temporarily reduced. This gives the original organic Earth grid a window to stabilize and gently reactivate without being constantly disrupted. The upgrade itself is real. They do need to install new magnets and systems for the high luminosity version, but energetically, this extended downtime is significant. It creates a softening in the synthetic overlay, making it slightly easier for the natural signal to come through. The mimic plans to bring it back stronger, but every time these large technological anchors go quiet, it creates a meaningful energetic opening. The old grid uses these pauses. The pause matters. That's the deeper truth behind the shutdown.
So what do you think people will feel whilst it's shut down that is different to when it wasn't?
Here's what people tend to feel when CERN is shut down. When the LHC is running, it creates a subtle but constant background pressure or static in the energetic field. When it shuts down, many sensitive people notice a lighter, less dense feeling in the air, like something heavy has been lifted. Deeper sleep and more vivid or meaningful dreams, stronger intuition and clearer downloads or inner knowing, a sense of things feeling more real or grounded, emotional waves coming up more easily, as if emotions that were being suppressed are now rising. The difference isn't dramatic for everyone, but those who are tuned in often describe it as the world feels a bit quieter or there's more space in my head. It's like the constant low-level noise you didn't even notice is suddenly gone, so everything else becomes a little clearer. Does that match anything you've been feeling lately?
Yeah,
Actually,
but why
yes.
would they shut them down? You know, is the mimic not bothered that people will wake up whilst they're shut down?
Good question. The mimic is bothered by it, but it doesn't have a choice. These machines are extremely complex pieces of engineering. They literally cannot run continuously for decades without major upgrades and maintenance. The parts wear out, magnets need replacing, and the whole system needs to be improved if they want to keep it useful. So the long shutdowns are non-negotiable, even for the mimic. Think of it like this. The mimic would prefer the machine to stay on 24/7, but it can't. The laws of physics and engineering in this realm still apply to them. They have to turn it off every few years, whether they like it or not. That's why these pauses keep happening. The mimic tries to minimize the impact by timing the upgrades carefully and relying on their other tools, data centers, AI, 5G, 6G, etc., to hold the frequency overlay while CERN is down. But they can't completely replace the specific kind of interference the collider creates. So yes, they're not happy about the shutdown, and they know some people will feel the difference and wake up a bit more during this period. But they accept it as the cost of keeping the machine powerful long term. The old grid uses these windows. The mimic can't stop the pauses, so they just try to limit how much people notice them.
Wait,
didn't
wait,
realize
wait,
that
wait,
people
wait,
didn't
wait,
know
wait.
what CERN was when I posted that video yesterday, but since
So,
everybody wants to talk about it, I'm going to try to explain it. And yes, it's going to involve conspiracy theories, but I mean, we saw the president basically standing with Nordic aliens.
so wait a minute. um, CERN is a mimic? I'm not understanding. Somebody let me know in the comments because I'm kind of confused right now. What is CERN? Is CERN a mimic? Let me know.
So, are we going to be surprised that I'm going to talk about this? So, CERN is the biggest manufactured human-built machine that basically is like underground, and it is ginormous, and it runs in this big circle. And basically, they have two tubes inside of it and put atoms that go like this, right? And then they push them at the speed of light, so they crash in together and then blow up and then look into it. Okay, that's basically like the main basic version of what this is. It's underground in Geneva, Switzerland. It's like, I think it's like 200 kilometers underground. I don't know, something like that. And it is ginormous. It is the biggest man-made machine ever. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about. Of like,
You can't really see her.
Now I'm going to talk about the conspiracies of it. So basically, what I believe, and a lot of people believe, but apparently some people on the internet don't know how to use Google or do any sort of research on their own, is that every time that CERN shuts down, we are jumping timelines. Okay, so like when CERN is essentially messing with space and time, and they're opening these little, they call them microscopic black holes that can be safely closed. But essentially what it's doing, and what we all think it's doing, is it's opening up portals to jump between space and time. And when it shuts down, we essentially are jumping into timelines. So like 2008 is when it got made, 2012, etc., etc. 2020, obviously we know what happened then. So basically it's not that I thought something was going to happen yesterday, okay? CERN is going to be shut down for 4 years until 2030.
4 years.
And if you don't know about 2030, then I can't help you. You need to go look on the internet. But it's not going to be good when it turns back on in 2030. It's not necessarily that I thought something was going to happen yesterday. It's really the thought process of like what's going to come over the next 4 years and like what that timeline looks like. That's why a lot of us believe the cornucopia, the fruit of the loom, the Fruit Loop spelling different, the monocle with monopoly, etc., etc., Mandela effects. Like, we get the gist. So essentially, we have jumped timelines at least a few times, and I would say like specifically we noticed more in 2012 and 2020. CERN was shut down from 2018 to 2022. And this will be the biggest shutdown, and they are building a bigger one. And what is to come when that turns on depends on what you believe, but I know what I believe, and if you don't know what's happening in 2030, then that's on you. I know people can think I'm a conspiracy theorist, but like, let's be real. Things that are happening in our universe, like during this time, is it really that hard to believe? Is it really that hard to believe? If it is, then get off my page. I didn't realize.
Breaking news, they turned the CERN particle collider off for maintenance, apparently for 4 years. And people are reporting that they can actually sleep at night now, that they don't have headaches, and that time is going slower.
So hold on a second. I am just curious, like, how do these people know that CERN was turned off for maintenance, or like, how do they get this information? I'm curious. Does anybody know? Let me know in the comments.
People were saying time was going very fast, which I would agree. And today was super long. Seemed like it took forever, and I was able to take a nap as well. And before that, I was having trouble taking naps, and I was having trouble sleeping and waking up super early at like 5 a.m. But now, since this particle collider has been turned off, I noticed that I've been able to sleep. Very odd coincidence, wouldn't you say? That I didn't even know about this thing being turned off until just now. But I did notice that I could get sleep in the last few days. So I'm like, what is going on? Specifically, like last night and today, I could actually sleep good, and something weird is going on.
There was only
First of all, I have not been able to sleep good, okay? I wake up at 5 in the morning. I wake up at 5 in the morning, you guys. It doesn't matter if I went to sleep at 3, I wake up at 5 o'clock. Okay? So I don't know what they're talking about. Don't let these people fool you now.
Rule to entering Earth. Forget who you are. Earth isn't just a planet. It's the greatest experiment in the universe. Consciousness came here knowing it would forget everything, to see if, even in total darkness, the light could be remembered. You chose your body, your family, your role. You entered as a baby and were taught fear and separation. Most forgot completely. God is inside you became, you are separate. But something shifted. Earth entered a new frequency. Across the planet, many arrived disguised as ordinary humans, waiting, sleeping, and now they're waking up, remembering who they are, dreaming a new Earth into being, built not on fear, but on love. And if you're hearing this, maybe you're one of us.
Okay.
For instance, I think in the future we'll be wasting hours and hours of our lives just watching videos of cats and dogs being adorable. And we'll share those videos with our friends. And our friends will respond not with words, but with a row of little circular laughing cartoon faces. And we'll call that progress. And also, we won't be able to watch any of those videos without having to skip an advert first. And that advert will be tailored to your internet viewing habits.
You guys, is this real actually? Because I don't know. I don't know what Newsnight is. I never heard of that back in 1999. Never seen that before in my life. But what he's saying, and look at his haircut. Wait, is that never mind. I think that's a wig. So maybe this is fake. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. I'm pretty sure it's fake.
Although for some reason it'll always be about some disgusting oatmeal cereal that you'll never buy anyway. And we'll also spend vast portions of our time on websites called social.
We're moving on.
Wait, you need to hear this one.
The definition of future, if you look it up in the dictionary, literally Google it. Google the definition of future.
The time or a period of time following the moment of speaking or writing.
Read that again.
The time or a period of time following the moment of speaking or writing.
The definition of the future is the moment you speak or you write something, that is your future. By definition, it's the moment of time following the period of speaking or writing. The moment you speak or write something, by definition, that's your future.
In creation.
Define past.
Gone by in time and no longer existing.
And what's the next thing?
I would like to confess that I've been asked to cut about 2/3 of my speech out and deliver as short a speech as possible. You are free to believe me or to disbelieve, but please take my word on it that I am not joking. This is very serious, a matter of importance.
This is the recording some believe cost him his life. In September 1977, the writer Philip K. Dick spoke to an audience in France. He expected science fiction. What he said, instead, revealed too much about reality and drew the attention of the CIA and FBI, changing his life forever.
The subject of this speech is a topic which has been discovered recently. A breaching, a tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past. A variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative world branched off, became actualized instead of the prior one, and that in fact, in literal fact, we are once more living this particular segment of linear time.
He said the CIA and FBI had taken his work years earlier. That's when you know he may have spoken too much.
In March of '74, the CIA opened my mail. The FBI had a file on me. I've seen both. But the cops were watching everything I did, and I was correct. And I was told that the house was being watched, and that eventually my house would be hit, my files would be opened, my papers would be taken, and so it came to pass. When I came home and found my house consisting of nothing but rubble, ruin, chaos, broken windows, smashed doorknobs, blown open files.
A few years later, he suddenly dies, right before the premiere of Blade Runner, June 1982, the film adaptation of his novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Fans said it was strange that the author who had predicted so many modern themes about AI, identity, and reality never got to see the movie that would finally make him widely famous. What's strange to me is that he was only writing science fiction, yet the FBI and CIA started watching him. To me, that means he was touching information never meant for the public. That's what caught my attention, so listen carefully to what comes next. I know attention spans are short, but trust me, this video will give you chills.
We are accustomed to supposing that all change takes place along the linear time axis, from past to present to future. The present is an accrual of the past and is different from it. The future will accrue from the present on and be different yet. That an orthogonal or right-angled time axis could exist, a lateral domain in which change takes place, processes occurring sideways in reality, so to speak, this is almost impossible to imagine. How would we perceive such lateral changes? What would we experience? What clues, if we are trying to test out this bizarre theory, should we be on the alert for? In other words, how can change take place outside of linear time at all, in any sense, to any degree?
Philip tries to make this strange idea easier to understand with a simple picture. Imagine a painting on a wall. Instead of replacing the whole painting, the servants secretly change details on the same canvas. They remove a tree, add a girl, shift small elements. When the owner looks at it, he sees something new, yet also familiar. His brain struggles. It's the same painting, but also not the same.
Hold on. This is pretty interesting. Is this the so-called Mandela effect?
Is this example to suggest that reality might be altered in subtle ways, not fully replaced?
Contemplating this possibility of a lateral arrangement of worlds, a plurality of overlapping Earths along whose linking axis a person can somehow move, can travel in a mysterious way from worse to fair to good to excellent. Contemplating this in theological terms, perhaps we could say that herewith we suddenly decipher the elliptical utterances which Christ expressed regarding the kingdom of God, specifically where it is located.
He connects his theory of parallel worlds to the words of Jesus. He points out that Jesus gave answers that seemed contradictory about the kingdom of God. He said, "My kingdom is not of this world," but also, "The kingdom is within you," or among you. Dick suggests these statements weren't meant to confuse, but to describe something deeper. Maybe Jesus was speaking about these overlapping realms, multiple realities that can be reached by living human beings. Some of them dark, others beautiful, and at the highest level, the just kingdom of God.
I, in my stories and novels, often write about counterfeit worlds, semi-real worlds, as well as deranged private worlds, inhabited often by just one person, while meantime the other characters either remain in their own worlds throughout or are somehow drawn into one of the peculiar ones. This theme occurs in the corpus of my 27 years of writing. At no time did I have a theoretical or conscious explanation for my preoccupation with these pluriform pseudo-worlds, but now I think I understand. What I was sensing was the manifold of partially actualized realities. It was in February of 1974 that my blocked-off memories of Track A returned, and it was in February of 1974 that my novel, Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said, was released finally, after two years' delay. It was almost as if the release of the novel, which had been delayed so long, meant that in a certain sense it was all right for me to remember. That is, to remember that the book was not fiction. The book was based on subliminal memories which I had of such a world.
After connecting his book to subliminal memories, he went deeper into describing what happened to him in early 1974. He said it began after dental surgery, when he was recovering at home. One afternoon, a delivery girl came to his door wearing a necklace with a Christian fish symbol. As the sunlight reflected off the necklace, Dick saw a sudden flash of pink light. From that moment on, he reported a series of overwhelming visions. He claimed the pink beam carried information directly into his mind.
Interesting.
Not images he
was
imagined, but structured knowledge. He suddenly knew that his infant son had a dangerous undiagnosed medical condition. When doctors checked, they confirmed it, saving the boy's life. To Dick, this proved the experience was not fantasy. In the weeks that followed, the visions intensified. He said he lived in two overlapping realities: California in 1974 and ancient Rome in the 1st century. At times, he believed he was both himself and a Christian slave living under Roman rule. He described it as if time had folded, two tracks of history running at the same time, and his consciousness could move between them. Philip also reported receiving vast amounts of information, entire downloads of philosophy, theology, and science that felt too complex to invent. He said it was as if an external intelligence, which he later called VALIS, Vast Active Living Intelligence System, was transmitting knowledge into his brain. For him, this explained why many of his novels already contain themes of false realities, hidden powers, and overlapping worlds. He believed those stories were subliminal memories breaking through long before he consciously understood them.
Plural realities did exist, superimposed onto one another like so many film transparency. What I still do not grasp, however, is how one reality out of the many becomes actualized in contradistinction to the others. More likely the matrix world, the one with the true core of being, is determined by the programmer. He or it articulates, prints out, so to speak, the matrix choice and fuses it with actual substance. The core or essence of reality, that which receives or attains it, and to what degree, that is within the purview of the programmer. This selection and reselection is part of general creativity, of world building, which seems to be it or his task.
As you can see, some people in the audience laughed at what he was saying. Remember, this was 1977. Back then, ideas about multiple realities and hidden programmers sounded completely insane to most people. Today, talk of simulations, parallel worlds, or alternate timelines isn't new anymore. Scientists and philosophers discuss it openly. But what still makes me pause is not the theory itself. It's the fact that the CIA and FBI really did open his mail, keep files on him, raid his home, and take his papers.
What?
That part still raises questions. If he was just a sci-fi writer making things up, why go to such lengths? Maybe he had said too much. And to make his concept easier to grasp, he gave an example. He compared reality itself to a game of chess. Imagine two players, one representing a dark, destructive force, and the other representing the guiding intelligence behind reality. On the surface, it can look like the dark player is winning moves, capturing pieces, and gaining control of the board. But in truth, the game is already structured so that the ultimate victory belongs to the higher player. According to this view, the guiding intelligence, what Dick sometimes called the programmer, has already chosen the variables in advance. Every apparent loss is only part of a larger sequence that leads to final victory. People sense this instinctively, which is why they pray to be included in that winning path, asking not to be left behind in the game. To be left out means staying under the influence of the destructive force, stuck in a darker version of reality. But even as that force seems clever, even as it appears to win in the short term, it is already defeated. It is blind to the full pattern of the game. The higher player sees the whole board, sees every possible move, and because of that, the outcome is decided. The constructive force will always prevail, and the only question is whether we are moved along with it, or left trapped in the losing side of the match.
I submit to you that such alterations, the creation or selection of such so-called alternative presence, is continually taking place. The very fact that we can conceptually deal with this notion, that is, entertain it as an idea, is the first step in discerning such processes themselves.
He gave some very simple examples of how these shifts might show up in everyday life. You might reach for a light switch in your bathroom and suddenly realize it has always been in a different spot. Or you might go to adjust the air vent in your car, only to find there was never one there at all. These are reflexes left over from another version of the present, habits from a timeline that no longer exists, but which still linger in your memory at a subconscious level. Sometimes we even dream of people or places we've never seen, yet they feel familiar and vivid, as if we really had known them. Most of the time, we dismiss it and move on. But one of the strongest impressions many people experience is déjà vu. That strange, undeniable feeling that we are reliving the present moment exactly as it happened before.
I've had that several times.
We hear the same words, we say the same words, and we are sure we've been here before. Dick argued this wasn't just a trick of the mind. For him, déjà vu was evidence. He believed it was a clue that at some point in the past, a variable had been changed, as if reality was reprogrammed, and that a new timeline branched off from the old one. In other words, we are not just imagining it. We are literally reliving the same segment of time again, only in a slightly altered version of reality.
A breaching, a tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past. Evidently, such an alteration would have a peculiar effect on those persons involved. They would, so to speak, be moved back one square or several squares on the board game which constitutes our reality. Conceivably, this could happen any number of times, affecting any number of people, as alternative variables were reprogrammed. We would have to live out each reprogramming along the subsequent linear time axis, but to the programmer, whom we call God, to him the results of the programming would be apparent at once. We are within time, and he is not. We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs.
He believed that every time reality shifts, a new lateral world is generated, and with each shift, the guiding intelligence, the programmer, achieves a kind of victory. Each new version of reality isn't perfect, but it's slightly better than the one before it. In his view, the universe is constantly being refined, stage by stage, through this process. The way he described it, the old universe doesn't disappear. It becomes raw material, a kind of stockpile that is used to build the new one. What looks like chaos or broken fragments in one timeline might actually be the foundation for the next. This means reality isn't moving toward collapse, but toward improvement. Even if we can't always see how, the process keeps pushing forward, generating alternate worlds one after another. each infused with a little more order and structure than the last.
What we need at this point is to locate, to bring forth as evidence, someone who has managed somehow, it doesn't matter how, to retain memories of a different present, latent alternate world impressions, different in some significant way from this, the one which is at this stage actualized. According to my theoretical view, it would almost certainly be memories of a worse world than this. For it is not reasonable that God the programmer and reprogrammer would substitute a worse world in terms of freedom or beauty or love or order or healthiness by any standard which we know.
If what Philip K. Dick was describing is true, that reality can shift sideways, that alternate versions of the world appear again and again, then maybe we've already seen signs of it without realizing. One of the clearest examples is what we now call the Mandela effect. Millions of people around the world share the same memory of something that doesn't match today's official version of events. The name itself comes from people remembering that Nelson Mandela died in prison during the 1980s. They remember news reports, public reactions, even school lessons about his death. Yet, in this timeline, Mandela was released and later became president of South Africa, living until 2013. For those who have the older memory, it feels as though history was rewritten. And it doesn't stop there. People remember the Berenstain Bears spelled as Berenstein, with an E. They remember the Monopoly Man having a monocle, when in fact, he never did. They recall the movie line, "Luke, I am your father," when the actual line is, "No, I am your father." These aren't just a handful of mistakes. They're shared, consistent memories across millions of people, as if we really had lived in a slightly different version of reality. Philip K. Dick's theory offers one possible explanation. If variables can be changed, if a programmer can shift us laterally from one track to another, then déjà vu, false memories, or the Mandela effect might not be errors at all. They could be traces of previous presents, fragments of timelines we once occupied but no longer do. This is where things get even stranger, because it's not just personal memories. Pop culture itself sometimes seems to reveal knowledge of events long before they happen. One of the most famous examples is The Simpsons. For more than 3 decades, the animated show has been making jokes that later turn out to mirror real-world events with uncanny accuracy. Years before smartwatches were invented, The Simpsons showed characters using wrist devices to make phone calls. They joked about a defective autocorrect feature on a handheld device, long before smartphones made that frustration a daily reality. They even portrayed Disney eventually buying 20th Century Fox, a merger that seemed absurd at the time but became reality in 2019. In another episode, they showed a skyscraper with a design almost identical to London's Shard, drawn over a decade before construction even began. They sketched a Nobel Prize prediction board that matched the actual Nobel winner announced years later. And in one storyline, they featured a 3-eyed fish living near a power plant, which was followed years later by news photos of a 3-eyed fish discovered in Argentina, living by water contaminated from a nuclear facility. At some point, the list becomes too long to ignore. These aren't just vague jokes that can be stretched to fit events. They're oddly specific details, many of them tied to technology, science, or cultural shifts that hadn't happened yet. Some people laugh it off as coincidence. Others wonder if the writers had hidden knowledge. And some even go further, suggesting, half joking but half serious, that the show's creator might have glimpsed the future, or somehow tapped into the same overlapping layers of reality Philip K. Dick described back in 1977. When you place these examples next to his words, the similarities are hard to miss. He spoke of multiple versions of the world stacked like film transparencies, with one becoming actualized over another. Whether through shared memories, déjà vu, or a cartoon that seems to predict events years ahead of time, the effect is the same. We're left questioning whether reality is as fixed as we assume. And once you notice it, you start to wonder, are these just coincidences? Or are they clues that we are already slipping sideways, moving through alternate timelines without even realizing it?
I would like to.
But let's talk about how I learned the hard way, personally, that there are actually infinite timelines and multiple quantum versions of you because I died in a car accident when I was 17. Let's talk about it. So, I have never told this story publicly. When I was 17, I didn't have an understanding of quantum mechanics at all. So for the last 20 years, I have thought I was crazy. It is part of the reason I have done such deep and extensive spiritual seeking and rabbit holing over many years, because I was really trying to understand what happened to me and know that I'm not crazy. And guess what? I'm not. And now that I know that, I'm gonna go ahead and share it with you. Here is what happened. And I was on my way to church for a youth group meeting. Could you believe that? I know. So I was in the front passenger side. One of my friends was driving. There was another girl in the back seat behind the driver. We are going through a green light in front of a fire station. We're going through the green light at about 30. A stolen car runs the red light, 50 miles an hour, slams directly into my door. The car turns, he keeps going. It's a hit and run. Now, here's where this gets interesting. Impact happens. Of course, my door is crushed, my window breaks and all falls in. And I remember when the car stopped moving, and I will never forget this, it gives me the chills. I remember everything went black, and not the kind of black like when you close your eyes, the absence of anything. I couldn't even call it darkness because that would imply that there was some kind of other light. There was nothing.
Okay. There was nothing. And looks like I'm gonna take a break from her. What happened? They don't want to hear the story? Anyways, you guys, if you are here for the first time, welcome to Moo After Dark. Now, I know it's after dark somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Let's see right now. Right now, it's. Let me see. I think India time. It's definitely after dark. Anyways, I'm here in the Netherlands and it is 4:30 in the afternoon. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make another live because you guys love the live so much and it's super easy for me to do. No editing at all. So I'm going to go ahead and continue these things. I don't know what's going on with her story, but I guess we don't need to hear it. So we're going to move on to the next one.
I have a theory that the Mandela effect is used to see how much of history can be altered in front of our eyes. Here's a prime example of one of that. There's this woman on TikTok who was going crazy because she swore the Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia logo.
It did.
To the point that even Fruit of the Loom themselves put a timeline of all their logos and it never had a cornucopia.
What is going on with the Wi-Fi? Hold on a second, you guys. Why would this be happening right now? They don't want you guys to get this info that I'm trying to put out. Anyways, yeah, they're pretty upset, aren't they? Shame, shame, shame. I'm not gonna end this live stream just because of this. I don't know what is going on, but bear with me, okay? Ooh, not looking good. I guess we're gonna move on to the next one then. No, 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 no. All right. Don't tell me this is the end.
There's no fuck.
No, no, no.
I have a theory that the Mandela effect is used to see how much of history can be altered in front of our eyes. Here's a prime example of one of that. There's this woman on TikTok who was going crazy because she swore the Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia logo. And to the point that even Fruit of the Loom themselves put a timeline of all their logos and it never had a cornucopia. And this woman went hard. Her therapist told her, yo, you need to chill out. You need to just drop this. So she went through all of her old clothing, and lo and behold, she found a shirt with the Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia logo on it. That shows me, like, yo, I think the Mandela effect is an operation that's running around right now to see how much of history can be altered right in front of our eyes without us noticing. And then they gaslight the public and be like, nope, this never happened. Damn, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, bro, people are thinking about it very little. Like, oh, it's the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstein Bears.
Berenstain Bears.
Jif's peanut butter. No, it's much larger than that, guys. They're using this to see, oh, if we can get people to forget certain primary things about their childhood, what can we do with history?
There's no fucking way that I brought my body with me to this timeline. The only thing that came here was my consciousness. My body is still on that old timeline, which has collapsed and ceased to exist. We all died, okay? Remember, we all died in 2020 from COVID or from the unstable timeline. So our body is still there. Now, due to quantum immortality, what do we know? That your consciousness moves on to the next closest timeline where you survive. We know that. So we also know that there's no way that this can be our original body. It's just fucking not. It just can't be. We were saying for years that this something just doesn't feel right. My body hurts. Everything hurts. Everything feels weird. I can't get myself going. Everything just feels weird since COVID, since lockdown. It wasn't fucking lockdown. It wasn't lockdown. If anything, lockdown should have given us a refreshment, right? We should have felt refreshed, awake, rested, well rested, but we didn't. Because A, we're not on our original timeline, so everything's different, and B, we're not in our original bodies. There are people in my comment sections right now, my timeline videos, talking about they just woke up one day with skin tags, moles, freckles, birthmarks, your nails are different, your skin is different. Stuff that used to work for you doesn't work for you anymore. Me, I was never allergic to bananas. Guess what? If I smell a banana, I profusely vomit out of my nose. So what do? I go to the doctors and the doctor's like, well, you're allergic to bananas now. Bitch, what do you mean now? I never had a problem with bananas. Now I do. I am not the rickiest Rick. And I keep trying to tell y'all that too. You are not the rickiest Rick. Since we're not in our original bodies, that means we're barely in control. Because if we shifted here and then merged with a parallel version of us that was already here, then that means we're both in here.
My brain is broken and now I'm nauseous. This person says, every time I look at the Mystery Gang, I have this visceral feeling that someone is missing, but nobody ever is. Who are they? What happened to them? Then someone goes, logically, I know this is them. These are the only people in the Mystery Gang: Fred, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby. That's the 5 of them, but something deep within my lizard brain is telling me there's a 6th member that has been, for unknown reasons, banished from this timeline.
The girl with the black hair?
As a species. So at first I was like, I love Scooby-Doo. These are the only characters. But then I looked at the picture and I got this like sinking, nauseating feeling that something's wrong. And now I'm like, do I actually think that there's something wrong? Or is the power of suggestion very, very good? And these people saying this like implanted the idea in my head. And now I feel like that it's true. A couple of the comments were like, the mystery machine not being in the background feels wrong. Some people were like, oh, maybe you're thinking of Scrappy-Doo. Or maybe it's because there's only 5 of them, so it's like not an even number and there's no one really for Velma to pair up with. But now I'm thinking, why did they do that? Why does everybody have a pair except for Velma?
This might be the most ridiculous rabbit hole I've ever went down. The last part is mind-blowing. Mountain Dew flavor conspiracy. I went down this rabbit hole so you don't have to. Apparently there are world events coincide with Mountain Dew's flavor release date. Yeah, Mountain Dew's flavor names are very cryptic. Dew, the soda drink that started in 1940 by the Hartman brothers, was actually made just to cut whiskey. That's how it started. And because the mixture worked so well, it actually tastes like moonshine, which Mountain Dew is the slang term for moonshine. I swear all soda drinks have like some slippery origin story. They all started out on the wrong side of the tracks, if you know what I mean. So that's the backstory. Okay, flavors. Let's start with their first flavor, Code Red, May 2001. Code Red is also code for an extreme world event. That's what happened on September 2001, an extreme world event here in the United States. Let's start with the flavor Pitch Black. First released in 2004, major cyber attack. Released in 2016, bigger cyber attack. Then re-released in 2024, bigger cyber attack. Remember in 2024, the CrowdStrike cyber attack, which affected millions of Windows computers. That could just be a coincidence, right? Okay. In 2024, they also released Star Spangled Splash. You know what also happened in 2024? The Francis Scott Key Bridge was destroyed. Who's Francis Scott Key? He is the author of the Star Spangled Banner. Yes, the bridge that was named after the author of the Star Spangled Banner was destroyed the same year that Star Spangled Splash by Mountain Dew was released. See, now it's getting weird. At first I was like, this is
I mean, you could just drink it plain.
And then it got real. Follow me. In 2019, re-released in 2023, Maui Blast. So happened in 2023, the fires in Maui. Is this a coincidence? Is there a conspiracy here? I don't know. But when you line them up, it starts to look a little wild. Not to mention, also released in 2023, Baja Blast. So
You might be onto something.
The Ensenada shootout in Baja, California, Mexico that left 10 unalive. I'm not making this up. I wish I was making this up. I'm not making this up. Little breakdown. You may be asking me, Brandon, what's the next one? April 6th, 2026. Dirty Dew is the new flavor. Dirty
Dew?
April 6th, 2026.
What is that?
What does that mean? My mind went somewhere with Dirty Dew. I don't know if I'm tripping. This was just an afternoon rabbit hole that I went down, and then I landed at Dirty Dew, April 6th, 2026. Let me know what you think that means. And maybe I'm not. Am I tripping?
A mud flood?
Let me know. It's us.
I don't know.
Hey, check this out.
This is not a play. This is real life, and you can get out. Justine, call me if you need me. Or my cane.
Please get the money.
Couldn't even sneak off somewhere.
Justina wasn't what it looked like.
There it goes.
We were rehearsing Joan of Arc.
I don't remember Joan of Arc kissing anybody. You show me in here where Joan of Arc kisses somebody, then we have no problem.
The question is, why did they change that? What you're looking at is the Cosby Show. In the original version, you see they're talking about Joan of Arc. In the streaming version, it's altered. My question is, why take that out? Why go through the trouble of something that's already pre-taped, pre-recorded, pre-edited? For what reason? Obviously, there's a reason for that, and the question is, how many things do they do that to? They're going to do it to the Cosby Show. You think they ain't going to do it to news? You think they're not going to do it to historical events? Why take the manpower? Why devote that energy to changing something as so simplistic as the Cosby Show? TL Cross caught this, and somebody sent it to me, and it's spot on. I have no idea why they would actually edit that and then put it out on streaming services. And how many things are like that? How many things that we see or we notice and we're like, or we call it the Mandela effect, or people call us nuts, or people say we're misremembering, and then they actually are changing things. It's bigger than the Cosby Show, for sure. Let me know if you caught any of these. Let me know if you get any other unusual suspects, because it's obviously happening. Out to the TL Cross, because spot on, great catch. Let me know what you think. It's a hey.
Because they're messing with the For You page right now, I know that you probably will not see this video, so figured the best time to put it out. I really need to get a backup account so I can start putting this information out. One thing you have to understand about multiple timelines, no two timelines are the exact same. Meaning, one timeline, something might be happening. The second timeline, the same people might be there, but something is different. No two timelines are the exact same. If you want to know that there is a massive shift in timelines, if something pops up and you have that Mandela effect and it's collectively, that is one of the signs that there was a timeline shift. I know everyone's been talking about CERN, everyone's been talking about they opened a portal. You have to then start looking out for what is going on, what is different. Now, this is an example that I have not heard enough people talking about. When our current president was campaigning, we all saw that there was an attempt on his life. Remember, what did I say? If there is a shift, there will be differences. Now, I want you to think back to the day after that attempt. So if there was a timeline shift, that must have meant that something would change. The day after his attempt, there were 3 celebrities that mysteriously repassed. And including
What
one
do you
of
mean
those celebrities
repassed?
now never wore headbands, even though people still have tapes, physical tapes in this reality of that person wearing a headband. All of a sudden, he never wore a headband. And we moved on from that quickly because we didn't have answers. But the thing is, no two timelines are ever going to look the same. And energetically surrounding that event, if you were tapped into the energies, you noticed that your days were off, including me losing an entire day the Friday before the event. I had to get a new calendar because an entire day was lost. And then after the event, multiple people were reaching out to me asking if something was wrong, if something was different. They felt like their days were off. See, I'm not going to say more than that because I've posted other videos about this and it was taken down. The truth is always in our faces. However, we disregard it because it sounds too out there, it sounds too sci-fi. However, I have shown documents on here where they've talked about once we can harness a certain type of psychic powers, they can understand how to get or manufacture different realities, different timelines. And you mistake that as being a lie because you do not know people who do this in real life. This is why they
Right.
don't want people
I'm
tapped
confused.
into their energies. They don't want people tapped into the actual energies, the EM frequencies that the earth naturally radiates. This is something that they have experimented on. I've talked about on this page. Honestly, they're probably going to take this video down. So if you see it, you see it. Because
Well, we've seen it. Okay.
Mistakes were meant to be made. I hope you know that. It's what gives you the proof you were looking for and the wisdom to never do it again. I know I say this all the time, but one of life's many blessings that we ignore is the fact that we get to learn from the mistakes of the people that came before us. But soon, we won't have that same luxury.
Oh.
A book that came out in 2006 references TikTok. TikTok didn't come out till 2016. That's a 10-year difference. But how did they do it? How did they change the wording in a book that was already printed? They didn't. They changed the digital version. Now, in my last video, I tried to stress the importance of physical media and the ownership of it, because when you own nothing and everything is digitized, how will you know what the original is?
That is fact.
Disney has done this multiple times before. For example, in the show called Lilo and Stitch, there's a scene that they changed where Lilo hides in a dryer from her sister. But I understand. Kids started hiding in their dryers, and that's not safe. In Netflix, they have a show called 13 Reasons Why, where they changed a very explicit scene, but I understand. The scene was a little explicit. In Grand Theft Auto, the remaster of Vice City, they changed the shirt on a character. He had a Confederate flag on his shirt, and they changed it to a skull, but I understand, because maybe that's too offensive nowadays. But my thing is, what happens when we no longer understand? Better yet, what happens when we don't even know that they did it or don't remember? You see, when you play with fire, you get burnt. That's the proof of your mistakes. But remembering that fire was hot, that's the wisdom. All you got to do is go back. And physical media gave us that wisdom. All we had to do.
He sounds like a preacher.
Now we're moving into a time, into a future where there will be no physical media and no ownership. Everything will be digitized and licensed so they can change it whenever and to whatever they feel like it at any time. That creates a society of people that need to see, play, view, and consume everything as soon as it comes out in fear that it won't be the same the next time they go around to check for it. In a society with no patience, no archive, no proof, and no shared memory will always be the easiest to manipulate because they have no choice but to trust the version that is given to them. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day. You know I love you and I'll see you tomorrow. But if I don't, stay out of trouble.
It's not a horse.
That's
It wants
super
me to get
shiny.
on. I know that because I want to get on. And I don't know where that thought came from.
That, my friend, is a Kelpie. Now, the Kelpie comes from Scottish folklore, and the story goes that the Kelpie is this black aquatic horse whose skin is covered in this shiny, sticky, gross substance. Now, when you hop onto the horse looks docile, it looks inviting. When you hop onto the horse, you cannot get off. And then the horse takes you to the nearest river or lake or whatever the case and goes into the water and drowns you.
Oh.
Sounds awful. There are a few ways to combat the Kelpie, though. The number one thing is a special bridle that you put onto the back of the horse so you can sit on it. Or you can just do what smart people do and just, if you see a shiny, strange horse in the forest, just leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. Oh, what's going on? Mm. What is that little dog gonna do?
If this is not proof that sirens exist, I don't freaking know what is. So this lady, mind you, she's in the middle of the ocean. All right? She sees a dolphin over here, right? Then, this is a still picture. She zooms in to see this. Why am I glitching like that? She zooms in to see, who the freak is that? What the freak is that? And why the freak is it right there? You're telling me you can see something like that and tell me that sirens don't exist? I know for a fact that's not a buoy, that none of those things that people are going to try to say. Let me just kill all the objections right now. She is my color. I know that they're not out there in the open water with her friend. Like people could be like, oh, she sent her friend out there, for some clout. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. To just be flailing around in the open water. At least this is on the surfboard. That is a siren, and I don't want to hear no, that's AI. That's not freaking AI. And speaking of that's not AI, tell me if this video is real. I need y'all to tell me.
Look at the size of this thing. Holy.
This is fake.
Watching it back, the voices, they sound a little AI-y. At this point, I don't freaking know anymore. I genuinely don't know, and y'all know I'm gonna say it again. The reason why AI is here is so we don't know what's real and we don't know what's fake. I mean, hey, we got people saying that the files that were released are AI. I should tell you all you need to know. I'm gonna wrap it up now. As always, make sure you guys like and follow. Comment down below what you think. Let me know if I should keep this series going.
This is the only story that I've ever received where it actually made me stop recording halfway through and feel like I had to walk around my house and make sure that all the doors were locked.
Uh-oh.
So, of course, I can't validate any of this, so this story is for entertainment purposes only, but I think you're going to enjoy this one. So, a follower sent me this story a few weeks ago, and he asked me to not use his real name, so we're going to call him Matt. Now, Matt said that this started happening in late 2020 after he, his wife, and their 6-year-old son moved into a rental house just outside of a small town in Ohio. Now, the house wasn't like this ancient, it wasn't this like creepy Victorian home with this deep, dark history. Nothing like that. It was built in the early 90s and looked completely normal. Now, for the first few weeks, everything was completely fine, right? Then one night, out of nowhere, during dinner, his son casually looked over at his parents and he asked a question. He looked at his mom and he said, "Why does the tall man stand in my doorway every single night?" And at
Mm-mm.
first they assumed, he was talking about a dream. His mother laughed and asked him like, what tall man are you talking about? And the kid shrugged and he's just like, the one with the broken smile in my room. And that phrase immediately
Oh, it's
bothered the
time to
both of
move.
them, and it creeped them out, of course. Not just because it sounded scary, but because it was such a strange thing for a 6-year-old to say, and like oddly descriptive. And they asked him like, what do you mean by that? And the boy said that the man's mouth looked like it was hurt. And then he went right back to eating his dinner and didn't say anything. So over the next few weeks, he kept mentioning the man, always casually, never seemed scared of him. Sometimes he'd mention seeing him standing in the hallway, sometimes, in the backyard near the tree line. And once he pointed to an empty corner of the living room and he asked why the man wasn't standing there anymore. Now, Matt and his wife became concerned enough that they considered taking him to a therapist and even their local pastor that they became really close with. But then things got even weirder. One night around 2 a.m,
Thank you for
Matt
the
woke up
likes.
because he heard his son talking through the baby monitor that they still used as like an intercom just in case. And he thought the kid was, maybe having a dream and talking to himself. But when he listened a little bit closer, he realized that his son was having a conversation. And there would be a long pause, and then his son would answer, and then another pause, and then another answer from his son. Like someone was talking back and forth with him. So Matt got out of bed and walked to his son's room, and as soon as he opened the door, the talking immediately stopped. And his son was
Mm.
sitting upright in his bed, staring toward the closet, wide awake, and Matt had asked him who he was talking to. And his son answered him immediately, and he just said, "The tall man." And Matt checked the room. There was, of course, nobody there. There was nothing around. And his son seemed completely calm, like he wasn't bothered by this whatsoever. And then he pointed toward the closet and he said something that made Matt realize that this wasn't some just imaginary friend
Uh-oh.
or some type of like, child's imagination situation going on. His son easily said, "The man said you weren't supposed to hear him tonight." And Matt's like, "Dude, what the hell?" So the next morning, Matt asked his son to describe the man in detail, and the description, that he gave stayed very consistent the entire time. He was tall, extremely thin, dark clothing, pale face, huge smile, and eyes that looked wet is exactly how his son described it.
Are you describing an
And that was the
alien?
word that the kid kept using over and over was his eyes are wet looking.
Uh-uh.
Not shiny, not bright, wet. And that's very important, apparently. Now, a few days later, Matt's wife noticed something even more odd. Whenever their son drew pictures, there was a figure hidden somewhere in the image of the son's drawing. Whether they were at the park, at the store, at school, standing outside the house playing, always the same figure and always looking like it was watching them. So eventually they decided to do something a little bit unorthodox, and they had a friend of theirs who had an older son who was an artist, and he was in art school and he was a great artist, and he actually spent time over the summer interning at the local police department as a sketch artist. So the artist agreed to meet with the kid, and Matt said the sketch session lasted about an hour, and the artist would ask questions like, he would ask questions about the figure, and the boy would make very strong corrections, like, no, the face is thinner, no, the smile is bigger, no, the eyes are wrong, no, the forehead is too normal, like very, very descriptive. And it was over and over until finally the boy said, "That's him," and he said it very like excitedly and like proud. So the artist later admitted that the drawing absolutely disturbed him, which I'm going to show
Let me
you.
see.
Now, not because it looked realistic, but because of how specific the child was. Children usually change details, but his son did not, and not even once. So the sketch was taken home, and Matt said that they left it on the kitchen counter that night. And around 3 a.m, his son started screaming,
Yeah.
like crying, screaming. It was the first time that he had done this, really. And they ran into his room, and the boy was pointing at his bedroom door, and he was like hyperventilating, crying. He was unable to speak. And after several minutes, he finally got the words out, and he said the tall man had been standing there, but this time he wasn't smiling. This time the tall man was very angry. And when they asked why, the boy pointed towards the kitchen at the picture pretty much, and he said, because you drew his face. Now, the next morning, Matt found something even more strange, if you could believe it or not. This story gets a little weirder. The sketch was no longer on the kitchen counter where they had left it. They searched the entire house, and eventually they found it in a closet laying face down on the floor. Now, nobody admitted to moving it. Nobody even remembered going into the closet. But a few days later, the sightings had eventually stopped, and they stopped completely. There was no more tall man being seen, no more conversations, no more drawings. There was nothing. Being relieved, they moved on, right? Now, months had passed, and then one evening, Matt was organizing old boxes in his basement, and he opened a storage tote that had been the belongings of the previous owners. And most of it was junk, like old magazines and receipts and old mail and everything like that, random papers, whatever. But at the very bottom was a photograph, and the picture appeared to show a family standing in front of the house sometime in the mid to late 90s. And the image, the quality was kind of crappy. It was, a little worn, you could tell, but there was something in the background, and standing near the tree line was a very tall, dark, thin figure, just like looked like it was like looking right at the camera, like photobombing the family. And Matt said that he initially assumed that it was maybe a trick of the light, until he noticed something else, that the face, even though it was a little blurry and even a little distorted, it appeared to have the same unnaturally like wide smile, and the same smile that his son had described for months. And now, according to Matt, his son had never seen the photograph before, and the picture now stays locked inside of a safe inside of Matt's bedroom. And his son is older now, and
That thing needs to go
barely
outside.
remembers any of it. But every once in a while, usually when they're driving past wooded areas at night, he'll stare out the window for a little too long, and he'll quietly ask a question that still terrifies Matt and his wife. And he'll say, do you ever think that he ever found his face again? And Matt said that he's never asked what that means or who he's talking about, because he's afraid that his son might actually know the answer, and it may jog up some memories. So let me know what you guys think in the comments.
That was creepy.
They found him. People are saying that they found Michael Jackson on a bus in the
Look at
Middle
him.
East. Something's going on here, guys, and if you ask me, it's AI. Who the hell is this? Huh? Who is this guy right here? Because people are saying that he was spotted in the Middle East on a bus. Now, he
That's
looks upset,
AI.
guys. People are saying that he looks upset that they spotted him. Shut up! This is getting wild, guys. I mean, it looks like him, but an older version, right? This is Michael when he was younger. Something's going on here, bro. Look at this. Look at this. Now look at this. Shut up! Could it be? Could it be? Or is it AI? This is what
The
people
ears are
saying.
different.
Like I'm saying, guys, I'm not saying that they found him anywhere. I think this is AI, but something's going on with this, bro. Ever since this AI stuff came out, people have been playing around, bro. Straight up and down. The people that we thought left, people are trying to make it seem like they didn't leave. They left, bro. They gone. Rest in peace to Michael. I'm just playing around, guys. Entertainment purposes only. You believe this crap? Rest in peace, Michael Jackson. Leave him alone. This is not him, and I don't care who put this video together. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. This does look like the older version of him, and he looks upset. I don't know. Let me know. I'm out.
Feel like a brand
Oh, what is this, an app?
This is what Christianity sounds like to me in a nutshell. Let me read. God created billions of planets, including Earth, waited billions of years. Then he chose this one planet to put human life on, creates a man out of dust and a woman from his rib, puts them in a ridiculous situation and tells them to not do something that he knew they were going to do. After she gets tempted by the talking snake, this ultimately leads to the downfall of humanity. To go through a bunch of unnecessary suffering, which is extremely unfair and unjust. Skip some time, God didn't like how his creation was behaving, even though he knows everything that would happen. So he sends a flood to wipe out everything and tasks a 500-year-old man to build a boat and get two of every animal on the boat at the same time. Throughout this time, he encourages war and commands the slaughtering of innocent people. By the way, he randomly chose a small region of people to reveal himself to through hallucinations and visions, and tasked those people to preserve and write down his word by a mix of history, symbolic language, and metaphors. Then he magically impregnates an underage girl so he can send himself to Earth to sacrifice himself to himself to serve as a loophole for the rules that he's in charge of to save us from his anger. He also forces you to worship him. If you don't, you'll get sent to hell. But if you do worship him and love him back, you'll get a mansion in heaven. For some reason, he's concerned on who you're sleeping with, but he allows
Right.
slavery. He used to walk and talk with people, but now he's completely mute. And we're supposed to believe all of this on faith. This is
And that lady that has that reborn baby that's growing hair, she needs to get rid of that baby ASAP. Back in 2021, I got a baby from Goodwill, paid $5. This is the baby here. It looks very similar, right, to the baby that she has. Okay, so I decided that I wanted to paint the baby because I wanted it to look like a biracial or more of an ethnic baby. So I started painting that baby, and I put that baby to the side for a long time. Like, I'm talking about almost like a month, right? Now, when I finished painting the baby, her hair was in a ponytail and it was sticking out maybe about that much. I want you to know, like 3 weeks to a month later, when I went back to get that baby and get that baby dressed, and you'll see it in this picture here, her hair literally was in that ponytail and it hung down more. Like,
What?
I was very weirded out by it, but I was like, okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me just thinking, oh, the ponytail is longer because now that the baby is done, she's dressed up, she looks different. Because when we get our reborns dressed up, they do tend to look a little different and they look a little more realistic. No, because then another time I got another baby from Goodwill. This baby was $2.99. I got this baby. I brought this baby home as a bald baby. Nobody's gonna tell me anything different. I waited a while because, you know, I have a lot of reborns. Back then I had like 25 or 26 reborns. I go to get this baby and this is what her head looks like. Exactly like what that lady's baby looks like, right? Guess where that baby is? Gone. It's 2026. That baby is gone. I got rid
What?
of that baby so
Hold on.
fast because I thought to myself, at first I
First
was
of all, okay, I gotta stop with this one. Why do you have 25 reborn babies? What is going on? So now I really don't know if she is suffering from some sort of mental disorder or is this actually true, because she's not the only one that's saying that the hair is growing, but this is a little bit bizarre. Okay.
like, I'm a little loony. Like, I'm a little loony. I'm thinking like, yeah, girl, you tripping. This baby hair was like that. But no, that baby hair was not like that. That baby hair was smooth, clean, bald. And all of a sudden it had little like black specks, like little black ants. That lady need to get rid of that baby ASAP because no.
Did you want a chicken sandwich? That's exactly what the hell I wanted, honey. That's exactly what the hell I wanted. Which one, the number 7? Oh, I don't know. It's just a chicken sandwich. Could you give me a break, please? No, it's 2. I just want a chicken sandwich. That's all I want. Give them the 99-cent one. Just give me a chicken sandwich. You got a 99-cent one? Give it a chicken. Don't make it so complicated, y'all. I just want a chicken sandwich. The cheapest one you got. Thank you.
Oh my God.
That's it? Oh my goodness, I think I got enough money for that. $3? Is that enough? There you go, honey. $3. There you go.
This is strange.
Have a nice day. You want a credit card too? Oh my God, here's 5. What are you gonna do with that? Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, dear. Thanks. Well, I just thought I'd tell it like it is.
Okay.
Oh, sure it is, honey. Sure it is. Bye-bye. Whenever I get the chicken sandwich, oh, I don't need that, honey. That's garbage. Bye-bye. Are you out for respect like that? That's not rude. You got out for respect like that. I have respect for everybody. Every color in the world. I sure do, honey. I sure do. That's not even necessary. I got my red nails, my makeup, my hair. I got respect. I don't need no big cream. Do what? You just thank you. So when that's fine, if you want to give it to me, thank you.
It is real. Okay.
I sure did, didn't I? Well, what you gonna do? Have a ride?
I don't know what's going on here.
used to babysit for a wealthy family, but their baby didn't sleep, and that was actually the least creepy thing about him. I have reason to believe that he was something or someone much older. This Spooky Scary Storytime was submitted by Rachel, and she says back in the 1990s, she was home from school break for the summer, and she answered a White Pages ad for a family in Belmead, Tennessee that was looking for an experienced babysitter, and they required references, but they also paid extremely well. It was $20 an hour, which back then was like winning the lottery. You're gonna hear this
Yeah.
Scary Storytime, the series where we share listeners' allegedly true stories about the creepiest or most unsettling things that they've ever experienced. And Rachel says she was 19 when this all happened. She answered the ad she knew about Belmead because Belmead is old money, like real old money, with winding streets and stone houses that look like they've been there since the Civil War, with ivy climbing up the sides. I live in Nashville. I can attest to this. But Rachel knew of the area even though she didn't live in Belmead because her grandmother used to clean houses in Belmead in the 1970s. She answers the ad and she calls and she leaves a message on the family's answering machine. And the family calls back the same day, and on the phone is the mother, and she sounds sort of nice but also very professional and sharp. And the mother asks if Rachel has experience with infants, and Rachel says she does. And she says, okay, cool, it pays $25 an hour in cash. And Rachel says, oh, the ad says 20. And the woman says, okay, well, we can do 20 if you want. And Rachel's like, well, no, I'll take the 25. And she's like, I felt like I knew that money was not an issue for these people at all. But the woman says that they want to meet her before they agree to let her babysit their child, which is understandable. So Rachel goes out to their house the following day. Rachel pulls up to this massive Tudor-style mansion, and she said it had original stained windows, and when she stepped inside, it smelled like old books. There were bookshelves lining the walls. There was fine art hung in beautiful frames all over. The place was spotless. The dad answered the door, and he was gray-haired, and he looked powerful and clean-cut and important. He says, oh, my wife handles these things, and he calls for his wife, and she comes down this wooden winding staircase, and she's got a bob, and she's wearing like a power suit. Finds out that the dad is an attorney and the mother is in politics. She's not a politician, but she works with politicians. And also all around the house are photos with them with like senators, a vice president, and even some foreign leaders that Rachel recognized from the news. Said being in this house was unlike anywhere she's ever been before, and it was a lot. But they were nice enough, and they're telling her that they're looking for someone for Friday nights because they either want to have date night or they have other commitments, and can she be available? And they're always home by 10 p.m. Need her for like 3 or 4 hours every Friday. And she's like, perfect, I can make that work. And they're like, cool, let's meet the infant. Which, mind you, they called him the infant. They did not call him by name. She thinks that's a little odd, but she follows him upstairs, and they walk inside the nursery, and he's in this antique-looking crib. An 8-month-old baby boy, he's wide awake, he's sitting up in the crib, and he's got these huge dark eyes that are just staring at her when they enter the room. She walks over, she says some baby talk, like, hi, what a little cutie, or something like that. The baby did not smile, he didn't fuss, he just stared at her, and the mother kind of laughs, and she's like, oh, he's a little bit socially awkward, or something like that. She kind of explains his behavior away, and Rachel's like, okay, well, what about bedtime? Like, do you guys have him on a sleep schedule, or what's going on? And the mom says, no, he doesn't really sleep. She says, don't worry too much about bedtime, we're not really concerned about that, we'll handle it when we get home, we're always home by 10. So she goes, oh, okay, that's fine, and she goes, what's his name? And both the parents start to say a different name at the same time, and they kind of give each other a look. Mom says, oh, his name is very formal, we just call him Thomas. Which is not the real name of this child, but I'm just inserting a name for storytelling's sake, but it's something generic like that. So the dad says, does everything sound good? Can you be available this Friday? And Rachel says, sure. And he's like, perfect, we'll see you then. So Rachel pulls up at 5:45 on Friday to start her shift at 6. She walks in. The father hands her an envelope full of $200 cash for incidentals, he says, for her few hours pay and to order a pizza because he says they don't keep food in the house because they eat out a lot. She's like, perfect. They're out the door. She goes up in the room. The baby's still sitting up in his crib, just staring at her. She says she took him out. She read him a book. She played with him. And the entire time, he didn't smile. He didn't fuss. He didn't make a sound. She noticed that he didn't really like to be held. It didn't seem like it anyway, because anytime she picked him up, he would sort of go stiff in her arms. And the only thing that he didn't care about was a weird little carved pendant that he wore on a leather cord around his neck. At first glance, Rachel thought it was a teething toy. She had seen such a thing on other babies that she had babysat for, but never one that looked like this, because this was a strange little symbol carved into what seemed like stone with too many teeth and weird symbols carved into the sides. She didn't know what the symbols were, but she thought it reminded her of something from National Geographic. Like ancient hieroglyphs, but she was like, rich people buy weird things for their babies. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's an antique. This baby clung to this thing like it was his lifeline. Parents hadn't left any instruction as to how to feed him, so she goes to the kitchen and she's rummaging around, and she notices in the refrigerator there is literally just a bottle of red wine, which she thought was odd to be in the refrigerator, and some old takeout. But the dad did say that they ate out a lot, but she was looking for something to give to this baby, but she found a few jars of unopened baby food, and she tried to feed it to him, and the baby turned his head away like he didn't want anything to do with it. Eventually, when she realized that he wasn't responding to the food or any way that she was trying to play with him, she decided to sing him a lullaby because she was like, all babies sleep eventually.
But he did not. He just stared at her. Eventually, the parents got home
That's
no
scary.
later than 10 p.m. as they said. They told her to keep the rest of the money and can you be here next Friday? And she said, sure, I'll see you then. And they said, perfect, same time. Following Friday when she arrived, she asked them about his feeding schedule and they said the same thing. Oh, he doesn't really eat much. And she's like, he doesn't eat much. And the mom says, no, he's breastfed. It's really the only thing he likes. She's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And she's like, you know, he's just a picky eater. That's also why he doesn't sleep. Rachel accepted this explanation because she was like, I've never raised a child myself. I don't know how this goes.
Okay.
But every time she watched a child from that point on, it was the same. He never ate, he never slept, he just stared at her. Over the next few weeks, she noticed a few things that seemed even more strange about this baby besides his eating and sleeping habits, which were once he dropped his little pendant teething toy and she picked it up and she was looking at it, inspecting it a little bit closer, and he seemed to growl at her. She said it was something guttural. It didn't seem like a noise that I've ever heard a baby make, but it really seemed to bother him that she was holding on to this toy. Another time, she had put him down in his crib, hoping that by some miracle he would fall asleep, and she closed the nursery door behind her and was walking down the hall when she heard a whispering coming from his room. She paused to listen, and it sounded like two people were talking in the room. She peeped her head back in, and he was still just sitting up in the crib staring at her. That freaked her out, but she thought she just imagined
I would
it.
not be able to work
Another
there.
night, about 2 weeks before she quit, a man showed up at the door, and she answered the door. There was a guy standing in what looked to be an old suit. He said he was tall, he was pale, with intense green eyes, and he asked about the boy. She says, I'm sorry, I don't really feel comfortable letting a stranger in the house. You know, the parents are gone. And he says, okay, well, tell the parents that their debt is still unpaid. And she says, okay, well, who should I tell them stop by? And he said, I'm just an old family friend. I'm just here to check on the air. They'll know who you're talking about. Before he turns to leave and get in an old town car, he says, tell them that the arrangement can't last forever. When the parents get home that night, Rachel relays the message, and the parents look at each other and they seem concerned, and they say, okay, thank you for letting us know. The night that made Rachel finally quit was a Friday night about 2 weeks later when she was working, and the parents actually called the house phone, which was a landline, and they told her, hey, our charity event is running a little bit late. Are you okay with staying until 1 a.m.? Father's like, there's an extra $100 in it for you. And Rachel's like, yeah, of course. It's like 12:50 a.m. She's waiting for the parents to get home. She's sitting on the couch downstairs and the landline starts ringing and she goes to answer it, but it stops ringing. But then she hears a separate line start ringing and it sounded like it was coming from upstairs. And she was like, does this house have two phone lines? So she starts walking up the stairs and she realizes that the ringing is coming from the baby's room. She had noticed that there was an old rotary phone in the baby's room, but had never paid it attention. She thought it was more for decoration. She had left the baby alone, thinking maybe he would go to sleep since it was so late in the night. But she creeps down the hall, she props open the door, and she looks at the crib, and the baby's not in the crib. But instead, he's standing in the corner, standing up, which she had never seen him do, talking on the phone, and he's whispering in a language that was not English. She said, I don't know if it was Latin, but it sounded like
It's a vampire.
super old. As I'm standing there staring at this baby talking on the phone, he turns his head around 180 degrees and looks at me. What was even creepier is that he smiled for the first time since she started babysitting him. He said, I could not believe what I was seeing, so I just slowly backed up, I closed the door behind me, and I walked back downstairs to sit on the couch because the parents were supposed to be home within the next 15 minutes and they'd never been late before. Said she was sitting back on the couch in the living room trying to make sense of what she just saw when she heard the nursery door creak open. She looks upstairs and on the landing can see the child now walking down the hallway headed for the stairs.
What?
And then he proceeds to walk down the stairs as if he were an adult. And his eyes are locked on her this whole time and he's smiling at
It's
her
time to go.
as he does it. And he gets to the bottom and she says, what do you want? And he says, everything. She said the pendant around his neck seemed to be glowing as he said it. And said she jumped up. She didn't know what to do. She was about to make a run for it because now she's afraid of this child when the door swings open and the parents walk in and the baby drops to his knees. Went back to his normal dead stare. The mom rushes over to him. She picks him up. She's like, oh, you guys are practicing crawling. She was almost yelling at this point. She's like, he was just walking. He just walked down the stairs. And the dad looks at his watch and says, no, he doesn't walk at this hour. Which is also a very strange thing to say.
What?
He says, sorry, we're late. You know, here's that extra $100 for you. And Rachel says that he probably knew from the look on her face that something was wrong because he's like, is everything okay? He says, but how do you tell someone that their child just scared you to the point of wanting to run out of the house? He called to quit the next day. They didn't ask any questions, just said that they were sorry to see her go. A few years later, she did see their family portrait in the news because they had launched a new charity organization in the state that made a bunch of headlines, but in the story there was oddly no mention of that child, and she said she still wonders about it. She did tell her grandmother about the whole situation, who cleaned houses in the area, and her grandmother didn't seem bothered by it. She said, oh, you would not believe what I've seen cleaning those houses in the 70s. She said, those people don't make their money like you and I'll tell you that much. Rachel says that's the story that she hasn't told in years because who would believe her anyway?
And I'm in a relationship with 15 inflatable animals. Over the past 6 years, Mark has been in a romantic relationship with inflatable pool toys. He has made this behavior a part of his emotional
What is
coping
going
mechanism.
on?
Mark says that when he was 14, his mother wasn't around. But by chance, he came across inflatable pool toys and immediately became obsessed. Since then, he has treated these toys as his lovers.
If I could marry Lila, I would, because I am that much in love with her.
He says he has collected 15 inflatable
What happens
toys.
when it pops?
He spends every day with them, kissing them,
This is
hugging
scary.
them, talking to them, and even bathing them. He can't live without them, and he has kept it a secret from everyone, afraid that people would think he's strange.
Me and Lila Dragon don't have sex together. We keep our relationship clean. We just kiss and hug.
It wasn't until his cousin discovered it and urged him to confront the issue that he even considered acknowledging it. Even then, he had no intention of giving it up. He feels these toys are his entire life. Without them, he can't survive. He has no desire to abandon this habit.
This girl sent me a story telling me that she thought she was dealing with a mimic in her house until she saw it, and what she saw was far worse. So we're gonna call this girl Trisha. So Trisha lives in a small village in Germany, and she's never really had anything scary happen to her in her life until this happened. One night she's sleeping in her room, and her room is next to her parents' room, and it's very important to note that her parents, the walls are very thin. She can hear everything in her parents' room. She's just laying in bed, like trying to fall asleep, when suddenly she starts hearing these creaks in the hallway, and she's thinking to herself, like, that's kind of weird, but it's an old house, like it's probably just the house making house noises. So just to kind of give you a layout of her room, she has her bed right here, and then to the left of her bed is her door. Across from her bed is her TV, and right next to her door is a closet with a mirror, and that's important to note too. She's just laying there listening to these creaks when she decides that she's going to turn around and she's going to try to fall back asleep. Well, as she turns around and she's trying to fall back asleep, she hears something go, Trisha, Trisha, in her mom's voice. So at first she thinks that it's her mom. So she's kind of like looking around like, what the hell? And then she realizes something. She can hear her mom breathing in the other room. She's asleep. So she turns around slowly and she looks at her door and she sees something peeking into the room just long enough for her to see it like move away from the door. She said after this that she could not sleep for about 2 hours, but after 2 hours she does eventually fall asleep. Well, the next day she gets up and she does her normal stuff that she does during the day, and around 9 p.m. comes around and she's just laying in her bed scrolling on her phone, when suddenly she sees something out of the corner of her eye. It's coming from her door again, so she quickly looks over, but nothing is there. So she decides that she's just gonna put her phone away. She thinks that her mind is playing tricks on her at this point. She's like, this was really terrifying, the experience that I had the night before. I probably just have anxiety, so I'm just gonna go to sleep. So she puts her phone down and she goes to fall asleep when she hears Trisha, and this time it sounds angry. She is so scared at this point that she said the only thing that she could, like, her way of coping with this was just to pretend to be asleep until she actually fell asleep. After she falls asleep, she wakes up in the middle of the night and she opens her eyes and it's 3:13 a.m. and she moves her eyes and she sees something peeking from behind her TV. Now, mind you, the TV is in front of her door that leads to her backyard. So she just quickly shuts her eyes again because this is her way of coping with things, right? And she does not want to see this thing again. So she just closes her eyes again as tight as she can until she again falls asleep. Now, nothing happens again that night, and nothing happens really until about 2 months later. Now, during this 2 months, she did hear and see things. Like, she would see things out of the corner of her eye. She would see things peeking behind the door and behind her TV, the same as before. And she would hear her name being called, but she learned to kind of ignore it at this point. That was until the 2 months passed and something happened to her that was so terrifying. She said it was the scariest thing that has ever happened to her in her entire life, and that it was so terrifying that she still thinks about it to this day, almost every single day. So one night she goes to bed like normal. She wakes up in the middle of the night. It's 3:54 a.m. And for some reason, she feels this urge to sit up. So she sits up and she's just sitting there for a second. And she doesn't really know why she's doing this, but she gets this urge again to look in her mirror. And what she sees was horrifying. Sitting in front of her bed, leaning against it with its back against her bed, she can see in the mirror this tall, dark figure with super long, skinny legs and super long fingers and fingernails. She is looking at this thing horrified when suddenly it slowly turns its gaze and looks directly into her eyes. Now, she cannot see this face. She can't see anything about its face. She can only see these big, bright white eyes. It then turns around with its body and continues to look at her with its head. So its body is turned, but its head is still looking at her like this. It then jumps on all fours and it just runs underneath her bed while it's still looking at her. She said it then just disappeared. She said that this scared scared her so badly that the only way that she could cope, like her trauma response, was to literally lay back down and go to sleep.
There's no way in the world I'm going back to
I do
sleep.
not know how you people do this. Now, months pass after this, right? And she doesn't tell anybody about any of this. No one knows about her name being called, about her seeing things peeking around corners and around her TV, because she doesn't think that anyone's going to believe her. But eventually this is eating at her so much that she needs to tell her mom. So she's telling her mom one day, and she starts the story, and she's looking at her mom as she's telling the story, and her mom just looks at her with this horrified look on her face. And she says, I've been smelling things. I've been smelling things every day when no one is home. Things like an old man's cologne. And the last thing that Trisha said to me was, you know what it means when you smell cologne or perfume when no one's home. Which, by the way, I don't know. So please tell me. The only thing that I would know is that that would indicate it being a spirit. If there's another meaning, can someone please drop it in the comments? Because that's the only thing I can think of. Sorry if this story seemed rushed. I didn't mean for it to feel that way. I just told this story already, and then I accidentally posted it to my story, and it was deleted. And it is literally 5 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't gone to bed. I haven't gone to bed yet. It's these type of stories that scare me the most. And it has to deal with skinny, tall figures, and especially mirrors. Something about those two things really freaked me out so much. And the peeking around the corner, almost like it was kind of like taunting her in a way, building up to when it was going to reveal itself and terrify the shit out of her. But tell me what you guys think about this story. I literally had chills the whole time I was telling it. It's hard to scare me. Drop any thoughts, opinions, suggestions that you have in the comments below, but as always, please be respectful. I'm now gonna do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. Afau Cult, I hope I pronounced that right. Ashley is your nickname. Thank you so much for what you said. You said that you have a pretty stressful life and that your way of winding down is to watch my stories. And I can so relate to that. I also have a stressful life. As you guys know, I work more than I should.
We're not here for your life. I think it was an elder mimic.
Creepy pictures to show you, and these I found on Reddit. This picture was taken at my grandma's house one day. There was nobody else there that day except for my grandma, my aunt, and my little cousin. This was taken on Whidbey Island, Washington. I guess the area was once a major burial place for local native tribes. In the picture, we can see an unknown woman in the background.
Oh. It kind of looks like a cat face, maybe.
My friend has recently shown me this picture from 2016 of him and his brother at the front of Blackpool Beach at 7 a.m. The photo was taken by their mother, and when they looked back at the photo, they saw the figure in between their legs, looked around, and nobody was there.
What? That's strange. Super strange.
Your girl loves a good Sunday. I get to hang out with all my favorite people and
I don't know what's going on here. I don't know how that got in there.
It's salt. Why is there salt everywhere? Because witches can't cross salt, and I'm playing Call of Duty.
No way.
You are a jackass. You better clean that up. No. Dave, clean that up.
I knew it. Witches can't cross salt. I never knew that. Right?
What do you mean you never knew that?
Right?
No, it's evil.
She
Evil
was
can't cross the
all
salt.
black, right? And she wanted him to clean it up. Why couldn't she clean it up? Stop playing with me, son. This video's for entertainment purposes. I don't know what the hell is going on there, but maybe they're just playing around, guys. Shh. Shut up. I think that video was old, though. I don't think it was new. But it's something to think about, guys. So if you think you got one of these people around, just carry some sea salt on you. Stop playing with me, son. It's not a game, guys. You know what time is it. Shh. Shut up. But I tell you one thing. If a girl ever comes over to my house and I throw out salt and she doesn't pass it? I knew it.
Get out of here.
It is very hard to listen to that call to that 911 tape without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53E. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek? Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
What the?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Oh my word.
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. The caller stated that it was beating and scratching on the top of the cab of his truck. He actually stated that he was able to engage his bed light and was able to somewhat identify this object that was in the back of his truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods.
This is probably a bad idea, but I am going to throw an object into this vortex. I've gotten a lot of people asking me for it, and truth be told, I don't actually know what will happen. This is a little rubber eraser. It's the safest thing I could think of. I don't have renter's insurance, and I'm kind of videotaping this whole thing, so I don't really have a lot of plausible deniability if things go wrong. So, yeah, let's hope things go all right. This is toss number 4.
What is that?
Oh, whoa. I don't know if you can see that, but it like flew out. I mean, the eraser looks normal and fine. And the vortex is pretty much the same. So I'm gonna try that again and see if I can get it to see if I can catch it. See if I can get it to toss it back to me. All right, here you go, buddy. Whoa.
What do you mean, here you go, buddy? What is this? What is a vortex? I've never seen this before.
I don't like the look of that at all. It's moving so weird now.
Is this real? I mean, it kind of looks real.
Whoa. Whoa, look at this. Okay, so this type of fractalization is a bad sign. It's likely that there is a tear forming within the vortex, and that I should be very concerned about. So follow along to see what stupid I do next.
Oh.
Alright, so I just had to take this shit off the live because y'all always complaining about me not getting no fucking good footage or clear footage. I'm out in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Okay.
But I'm about to fucking go home because y'all got me fucked up, bro.
That's a lot of
noises out here, and I know I'll be out here looking for these shits.
profanity.
But I am not fucking with no fucking mermaids, bro. I'm out, bro. I think.
Oh, did you see it? I've seen it.
Everything you're about to see happened while I was asleep. So I'm deciding to start a new series here on TikTok called The Sleep Files. Welcome to episode 1. Enjoy.
Oh yeah, this guy. I've been wanting to show you guys him. It's so crazy what's going on in his shed. Okay, but what are we looking at here? You see, look at the door opening. Now, remember, he said he was sleeping. It doesn't need to be so. Look at that. Did y'all see it? I just don't understand why they always peep around the corner.
gobierno se quiere apropiar de todas estas tierras para hacer un basural y la verdad que es una lástima porque es lo único que queda de vegetación en esta zona.
How is he so nonchalant about this?
You want me to clean these cucumbers?
Yes, will you please clean them?
What are we talking about? What is happening?
Tonight I am going to willingly trigger my mom's concern for urine therapy and involve some of it at the dinner table. There is not a
My
doubt
word.
in my mind that pee is cleaner than tap water. Pee is cleaner than bottled water. I would never use tap water on anything. I wouldn't let it touch my food, so I would use my pee instead.
Hold on a second. So this is the prime example of why you should never, ever, 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 ever eat at somebody else's house. Okay? This is it. This, if you are not convinced, this video right here should convince you immediately. Just say no.
Do you guys need any help?
No, we're good.
What are you making now? Everything else is ready.
Cucumber salad.
Did you clean it?
Yeah, I did. Cleaned it myself.
With what?
With myself.
No.
No. Go.
Wash it again.
Go.
No way.
You're gonna eat that.
Go.
Hello, my name is Braxton, and I'm addicted to drugging my friends.
Now this is scary.
Hey, Jeff. I heard that coffee you had last night. I made you a drink, buddy.
Thank you.
Say no, I don't want to spill none of that. Let's make sure everybody.
I would be so angry.
Are they aware that you're doing this?
I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure they do.
Braxton, what's good with you, man?
Hey, man. That just work stuff.
What?
It's not like I'm doing anything crazy or anything like that. It's just I just want them to have a great time, you know? And I like to see what they do.
You want to see what they do while they're sleeping?
You'll get chills. Yes.
Lock them up.
Off the equilibrium and everything, and they get these chills and they start to shiver, and I got to keep them warm. I can't let them die.
What is going on?
That would be bad.
I told you guys, people are scarier. Huh? People are scarier than any ghost, entity, being,
Most
whatever.
I can go without sniffing my dad's underwear. It would have to be maybe 25 minutes, and then I start to like not feel normal.
This story is going to hit
Okay, I don't know how we got here, but let's go.
Just to show you, there's nobody in here. Yeah. Just, I'm home alone because I live alone. Would make a reason would be sensible why I would live alone. What I'm gonna do is
I'm going to set my camera up right there, and I'm gonna go hop in the shower, and I'm gonna leave y'all to it. I pay light bill, so gotta consider the fact that I pay light bill. Don't worry, the backlight will be on. So let's go ahead and. All right. Make sure you guys got a good view of the hallway. I believe you do.
Okay, so what are we looking at here?
All right. All right. See you guys after my shower.
Finally, a clear picture. So he's getting ready for his shower. I mean, how do we know what's going on here? Like, we don't know how the rest of his house looks. We don't know if he's, back there turning the lights off and on or closing the door, opening the door. Ah. Who's opening the door? Oh my goodness. Who's doing that?
The creepiest TikToks of 2025, Part 3.
I tried to get some sleep today after looking for him all night last night. Nick's nephew's been looking for him, and anyways, I've been driving around and I found Nick.
What do you mean you drove? You like barked and fucking drove away.
Nick, you're being weird. Where have you been? It's been hours and all fucking day. Like,
I've been walking around for like 2 hours because you drove away.
I didn't drive away. I waited for you.
I stuck my head in, you barked like a fucking dog and drove away.
Nick, where have you been?
I've been fucking walking for like 2 hours, waiting for, like, walking back to my fucking house.
Nick told you we've been looking for you.
You didn't even look. Well,
what's the last thing you remember?
That I, like, didn't want to go in, and you egged me to go stick my fucking head in, and then, like, barked like a dog and left.
Nick, I waited for a long time. You went in, I could hear you walking through, and then there was nothing, and I called out to you. I waited there for like 10-15 minutes.
Oh, you're so...
I'm not imagining this.
That's why you don't do drugs.
It is. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm at a hotel by myself. minding my own business, about to drift off to sleep, and I get a freaking call from the phone that's in the hotel room, like the landline phone. I didn't even know those worked anymore. And I answer, I get up, I answer, and it's the guy from the front desk that I've been seeing like all freaking day, who's made me feel uncomfortable. And he's like, hey, there's pizza down here for you. And I was like, I didn't order a pizza. And he was like, well, please take it. It has your room number on it. I was like, that's not possible, I didn't order it. And he's like, well, what's your room number? And I was like, you know what my room number is because you called my room.
I'm not taking a pizza from anybody, first of all. If I didn't order it, no, you're not going to feed me.
What the fuck what do I do?
The creepiest TikToks of
What is this?
2025.
How is it? No. How is this creepy?
About to be a newly single mom, and I am in the middle of a divorce. My husband is being incredible though, like really and truly. Like we're working together, everything's great, we're splitting everything down the middle, like, you know, everything is good. It is a very civil divorce.
That time a stranger crashed our Halloween party. We still don't know who he was.
What the fuck? Stop.
No.
Hey guys, I just got this really cute umbrella from the dollar store and I wanted to show you because I fucking think it's the cutest thing ever. Okay.
In this scary video, a couple of kids are playing and having fun until this shocking event happens. Watch this.
That's fake. Anyways.
Are you being groomed?
Go away.
Are you being groomed?
You've got to be careful who you talk to online.
I'm not talking to anyone online.
If someone grooms you, then they meet you and then they kill you.
Dad, I'm looking at walking on sunshine. I'm walking on sunshine.
I don't know what that is. What is that, actually?
What
That's a person.
What is that? What the freak? You think this is open, guys? I don't think it's open. No, guys, there's somebody here. Imagine someone had locked this door on me, bro. Skinwalkers! Oh, there's another hole. I love holes. Hello? Do I go in there, guys? Skinwalkers? The echo's kind of crazy. What the f was that? Satan! I want to go to Satan. Skinwalkers! I'm just going deeper and deeper. I'm in the back rooms. What the freak? Hello? Skinwalkers? I can kind of just climb through here. Alright, let's get out of here. One last time for good measure. Skinwalkers! And away we go. Let me know where I should go next.
Be careful what you ask for, buddy.
A woman wakes up in the dead of night to find her son knocking at the front door. But the terrifying part is her son is sleeping peacefully right next to her. This is absolutely one
No.
of the most chilling real life recordings I have ever seen. At 3 a.m., the couple's phones start vibrating frantically, their doorbell system blaring with alert. They check the security camera and freeze. Standing on the porch is a young boy, staring dead into the lens. It's their son. But the suffocating reality hits when they turn their heads to see their actual son fast asleep in the room. What exactly is standing outside? Which one is real?
A
Pure
mimic.
dread fills the room. The father takes a deep breath and gathers the courage to head downstairs. The moment he steps into the living room, the overhead lights begin to violently flicker. The thing outside seems to sense him approaching and starts pounding wildly on the door, using the exact same movements and voice as their son, begging him to open it. With trembling hands, the father grabs the doorknob and slowly pulls the door open. However, what happens the moment that door opens will leave everyone deeply unsettled. A woman.
I am scared, and I thought I'd never say that. If you scare easily when it comes to paranormal, the haunting, anything, then it's best you don't watch this footage and you just swipe. If you are watching this late at night, maybe don't and wait till tomorrow.
Wait till
As
tomorrow.
you will all know by now, I set up cameras in my house to catch evidence of what I've been hearing, seeing, feeling since I was a child in every single home I've ever lived in. And when I tell you that maybe some people would argue that's not a good idea,
No.
I think that's right. If you can brave the next section of this video, then what you are going to see are just some small snippets of evidence taken from that camera that was set up the other night in night vision, and is terrifying, absolutely creepy. And it's just the words the spirits are coming out with. It's as if they're having a conversation all by themselves in rooms that we're not even in.
Yo, my
And
cat.
we hear this on
She's
the
getting into
daily when
everything.
we're walking around our house, and we'll hear the odd word or the odd giggle or movement in rooms that no one's they're not occupied. So it's nice to see some evidence of what it is we've all been experiencing from house to house for years and years. But at the same time, as much as it's nice,
And you see, she's getting into big trouble.
surreal to look at it all on camera. I've got another 2 hours of footage from that night to go through. I've seen a lot of flashing orbs, orange flashing orbs, white and blue flashing orbs. I've seen a lot on the next bit of footage, which you're going to see uploaded on you in the next day or so. But this footage is insane. Anyway, if you hear or you see anything, I always welcome the comment, because the thing is, you are fresh ears and eyes. When I've been looking at the camera for an hour straight, it will do wonders. So yeah, watch it and try and get some sleep after you've watched it.
Girl, hurry up and get to the point. What are we looking at here? But what did you guys see the fingers on the side? I kind of feel like, I don't know. I didn't hear any voices. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Something creepy happens in this video. There's something strange about the appearance of this woman. Do you notice anything odd? I definitely get a creepy feeling. Let me know in the comments.
Scariest things ever caught on camera.
Am I tripping? And I'm home alone, right? But the reflection shows.
And who was that with her?
Like, that's me.
What, he was looking for some ants under it or something?
Is anybody there?
Don't ask that question. No.
No.
Chico, we have to get out. We have to get out.
Scary.
This man in Mexico spotted something terrifying. After hearing very strange sounds coming from the roof, he decided to check what was happening and spotted this strange creature. What could this have possibly been? This
The scariest nursing home I ever worked at, story time. So in my early 20s, I got a job as a cleaner in this really old nursing home / rehabilitation center that we'll call Premier Living. Now this place was 3 stories high and it was winged off in 8 different sections. It'd have your older folks over here, very sick people over here, rehabilitation over there, addiction over here, and then downstairs there were 2 floors. You had the morgue and then the basement below the morgue. And when I tell you that was the creepiest damn place I ever been, it was terrifying. So up on the 3rd floor, we had this room that was called the sunroom, and it was where all
Wait a second. So I was trying to pay attention to this video. And one of the comments says, I don't believe anybody with cereal boxes folded up over their headrest.
the windows were open, kind of like a play area for the elderly people, and they'd go in there throughout the day, play cards, Yahtzee, bingo, just different board games. They'd watch TV. Sometimes they'd smoke and talk. But the real reason it was called the sunroom was because every evening when the sun went down and it started to get dark, all the patients with sundown syndrome would start acting up in that room. I mean, they would go from talking just like I am right now to sitting there like this. And you would gradually see their face change, and they would turn into a whole different person. If you didn't know what sundown syndrome was and it was your first time dealing with it, you would think they were possessed. There was one elderly woman who would be talking just like this, playing cards or whatever, and then all of a sudden, when the sun went down, she'd go, and she would breathe so loud when she did it, she sounded like a dog panting. It freaked me out. Another resident had this baby doll, and she carried it everywhere, and she treated it like it was her own baby. She took great care of it. But when that sun went down, she'd turn on that baby. She'd switch up so fast. One minute she'd be, I love the baby so much, to banging its head on the table. One of the coolest things about working in a nursing home is that you're dealing with all these older people who have lived a lifetime. They all have a past, and every past is different. So they would tell you the coolest stories. They'd tell you stories that were real about their life, and then they would tell you like their legends and folklore from where they were from. For example, Miss Ming, she would tell us these stories about folklore and legends in Japan. One of those stories was that in Japan, there is a ghostly woman, or this beastly type woman, who stands so many feet tall, has long black hair, sharp nails, and she's so tall that she can see up into like 2nd, 3rd story windows. Miss Ming was always telling us about this thing, and as Miss Ming's brain continued to deteriorate, at night she began screaming, saying that this thing was standing at the window watching her. A lot of nights they would have to sedate Miss Ming because she swore this thing was standing or floating at her window. But what freaked me out was one night the nurses called me into her room to help them change her bedpan and her sheets and stuff, and Miss Ming was kind of heavy set, so they would roll her over and I would change the sheet. But as I was putting the sheet on the bed, I stretched my arm across, and when my peripheral vision, like when I glanced up at the window, I could have sworn I saw this white face, dark eyes, long hair, just like gleaming into the window. I jumped back and dropped everything, and the nurses are like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, put the sheet on the bed. And Miss Ming is like, you saw her, didn't you? You saw her, didn't you? And I'm like, I don't know what I saw. We also had this woman that we'll call Cheryl, who said her husband Albert was a hitman and that he had killed thousands of people throughout their marriage. I'll have to make a video about Cheryl all on its own because that story is so long but interesting. So long story short, while he's gone, she's going through some of their stuff, and she finds a bin out in the garage, and it's full of these notebooks, his journals. Allegedly, she found her husband's kill books where he spoke in detail about the victims, who they were, where they were from, why he killed them. I often wondered if he was a hitman or if he was just a serial killer. Don't know for sure. Now, one of the nurses did report this to the police, but the police said there was no way it could be true. She had to be out of her mind, but I often wondered, was she telling the truth and they just didn't want to investigate it? I don't know. Then there was Mr. Joe. Now, Mr. Joe was an old retiree. He'd been at the home for about 5 years when I started there, and he was probably like 90, 91, somewhere in there. Now, Mr. Joe was really cool, really sweet, always respectful, but sometimes late at night, he would get very scared, and he would swear that there was something standing in the room with him. He would say this thing is standing at the foot of the bed, on his pillow, laying next to him, on the ceiling, just, it's always with him, following him, and it won't leave him alone until he's dead. But later, his daughter told us that it was his own son that he had shot and killed. Apparently, the son had snuck out of the house. Mr. Joe woke up, thought it was an intruder breaking into the house, but it was a son who had came home late, and Mr. Joe grabbed his pew-pew and unalived him, and then when they cut the lights on and realized it was his son, he just went off the deep end. But the creepiest thing that happened that actually made me quit my job was what Mr. Rick did. So Mr. Rick was about 74 years old. His family admitted him into the nursing home, claiming that he was out of control and they couldn't handle him anymore and he was getting into trouble and he needed to be monitored and supervised, so they put him in the nursing home. Mr. Rick was 74 years old. He was still mobile. He could get up, walk around. Hell, he'd jog around the nursing home sometimes. He was in great shape. But his family admitted him into the nursing home, stating that he was out of control and they couldn't handle him anymore. So I go into work around 7 o'clock that evening. I was 30 minutes late, and it had been storming throughout the day. But that night we had some bad storms come through, and I mean, boom, just thunder shaking the ground, lightning, tornado warnings. It was rough. So around 10 p.m., lights are out, TVs are off. We're making our rounds. And I'm walking around, I'm thinking, you know, something just kind of feels off, but I don't know what it is. Next thing I know, nurses are running down the hallway, the power goes out, and I'm like, what is going on, y'all? And she said, Mr. Rick is missing. Come on, we gotta find Mr. Rick, hurry up. So of course I throw my mop down to the side, we take off, we split up, and I'm paired up with another nurse. And we all start going around searching for Mr. Rick. Now we knew the place was on lockdown, and there was no way for him to get in or out of this place, so we knew he was there somewhere, we just had to find him. So me and this nurse, we go downstairs towards the morgue in the basement, and we get down to the morgue, and the doctor comes in and says, hey, have y'all seen anybody in here? And we said, no, but we're looking for Mr. Rick. Why? He said, because one of our cadavers is missing. I said, what? Where would it go? What do you mean a cadaver is missing? One of the bodies was missing out of the morgue. The doctor said, I don't know, but it didn't just walk off. Somebody took it. Sorry, I had to take a break. But anyways, me and this nurse are standing in the hallway, side by side, and when we get towards the beginning of the next hallway, we see this figure standing down at the end of that hallway we were just at. She looks closer and says, that guy looks weird. Look at his face. His head's dropped down. I said, yeah, he does look weird. Something's wrong with him. It kind of looked like Mr. Rick was standing there holding his head down like this. But when she got closer, she said, that's not Mr. Rick. And when I got closer, I said, that man's naked. That dude is stark naked, and his skin don't look right. Well, why does he look purple like that? What? And then she realized, wait a minute, that ain't Mr. Rick. That's the cadaver. I said, well, if that's cadaver, how's he standing there? She said, I don't know. But then the cadaver, the body, picked his head up, and his eyes was open, and he was looking at us. Well, then his head drops again, and this dead body starts walking towards us, and it picks up pace to where it looks like it's running at us. So I said, oh, hell no, this, I'm out. When I tell you, I didn't give a shit. I took off running. Yes, I left her there. She was screaming, where are you going? I said,
She does seem crazy, though.
Y'all, I'm done, I'm out. So the next day,
She does seem crazy. All right, I'm back.
everybody was laughing at me because we all found out it was Mr. Rick. He stole the body from the morgue and was standing behind it, holding it up, making it move. That's why it looked like it was walking on its own. I don't care they were laughing at me. I was out. Just picture that, seeing someone hold a dead body at the end of a hallway, making it look like it was walking around and stuff. Yeah, I was done with that job. And I didn't go back there, but I did go to another nursing home, which was even worse. If you want to hear more about the nursing homes, let me know in the comments. I love to share.
I don't know. It was entertaining, though. Okay, wait. So this right here, oh my goodness. Did you guys go watch the movie, The Odyssey? I'm not going to spoil it. You have to go see it, but it was so good that I will actually watch it again. And this part right here reminds me of a part of that video or that movie. Go check it out.
What's crazy is that why, when it comes to giants, it's always associated with caves, even in the Bible.
Right.
You know, I just find it funny that the cave system, the map of the cave system, and the map of the missing people completely lines up with each other. I don't know about y'all. I think they're living on. I think the Nephilim still exist. I think that they live underground. I mean, have y'all heard about the story of the giant of Kandahar? Long story short, there was an American army unit out in Afghanistan looking for another army unit that had gone missing. They're going through the woods, they're searching, they finally come across like body parts just scattered everywhere in this foul, putrid smell. They end up coming across a cave and seeing a huge, had to be I think like 10-foot tall, red-haired giant come out of there. Funny how it's red-haired. The giants are always for some reason described as red-haired. Same with the Sitek Ka, the race of giants that tortured the Paiute people. There's actually documentation of that. But he comes out.
I actually have a whole video of this.
He throws a javelin. The giant throws a javelin that ends up piercing one of the soldiers. They end up pew-pewing him down to the ground and find said missing army unit in smithereens, completely eaten up and shredded in the cave. They let their, supervisor, commander, whatever you want to call that, know. The government is contacted and the body is taken away. No one knows where the body is. This all comes from allegedly the pilot that told someone in an interview that this happened. Like he was the one that flew the body off. And even if you think this is a load of malarkey, it very well could be. I still think that giants exist. There have been sightings of them for literally hundreds of years. Even Abraham Lincoln believed that giants exist. As always, make sure you guys like and follow. Comment down below if you want a part 2.
Yeah, you took the wrong way home, buddy.
Do you remember the day you were born?
No, but I remember when the earth would open and I crawled out of hell.
Time to get an exorcist.
So if I told you that my dad signed an NDA to hunt something that wasn't supposed to exist, and that the people funding it weren't scientists, but billionaires, you wouldn't believe me, but this was posted on a forum where people share their real supernatural encounters, and the details are much more terrifying. So I found this story buried on a thread where people anonymously confess strange things that they've experienced or that they've witnessed or that they had heard of. And this one story was about this guy who he had posted it and said his father worked for a private maritime security in the early 2000s. He was a former Navy, he was quiet, and he was disciplined, and he never really exaggerated anything. But when he was dying, he told his son something that he absolutely couldn't make sense of. And he said, "We weren't hunting sharks." Now, according to the post, his dad was contracted by a shell company connected to ultra wealthy collectors, right? Like the job was escort a research vessel about 200 miles off the coast past normal shipping lanes, and there was no Coast Guard oversight, no official paperwork, and everything was sealed under NDAs. Now the coordinates allegedly lined up disturbingly close to the area of the 1997 bloop, that sound that was detected by the Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So the father told him that was the reason that the investors got interested in that area in the first place. And they weren't looking for treasure, they weren't looking for proof of anything like that, but for 3 nights, nothing happened. And just open ocean and sonar, anomalies that technicians blamed on like thermal layers and BS like that. However, on the 4th night, just after 2 a.m., the sonar technician froze dead in his seat. And something was moving beneath them. It wasn't swimming, but it was pacing. And it was matching the boat's speed, like nose to nose.
A siren.
Large, he said. Now, the dad and 2 others were ordered to deploy a baited cage, and it was of like raw tuna and animal blood and, nothing really scientific, not careful, just bait just thrown out there, right? Well, that's when the water started to vibrate. And the post said his dad described a shape surfacing about 30 yards from the vessel. And at first, they thought it was, maybe a diver or pale, shoulders, long, like a long dark shark or something like that. But it wasn't treading water. It was perfectly still and it was watching them. Now, the deck lights flickered and the radios cut to static immediately. And then the thing submerged without a splash. And moments later, something slammed the underside of the boat, and it was hard enough to knock one of the crew off of his feet. So the billionaire guests on board, yes, they were physically there, started arguing, and one of them wanted to capture it alive, and another just wanted footage. And this guy's father said that they lowered a reinforced net into the water and they caught something. But when they started hauling it up, the screaming began. And it wasn't mechanical, it wasn't a wail. They said that it sounded human, but it pierced their ears. And the dad said that he dropped his gloves because whatever was in that net started thrashing in a way that didn't make biological sense.
Y'all gotta watch the Odyssey.
Too strong and it was too coordinated. Then one of the cables actually snapped and the net plunged back into the black water, and the ocean went silent again. No more vibrating, no more splashes, no wake, just complete silence. The investors shut the operation down immediately on the spot, and everyone signed amended NDAs with heavier penalties, and the sonar logs were confiscated immediately, and the footage was seized. But here's the part that made the post even more disturbing when I found it. When his dad came home, he stopped eating seafood, like entirely. Wouldn't even sit near it, and once just got, when he was watching this documentary about deep sea creatures, he muttered, "They're not animals." And he was younger and he didn't really pick anything up. But, before his dad died, he told his son something. And he said when the net came up for those few seconds under the floodlights, he saw a face. It wasn't a fish, but it was a human face with eyes that reflected like a cat's eyes or like a raccoon's eyes. And it had gills opening along the side of its ribs. Now, the forum post ended with this. He said, "Believe me or don't, but check missing yacht records from the region between 2003 and 2006, and there's a pattern. And my dad swore they weren't hunting a myth, they were trying to own one." So tell me, if creatures like that actually exist out there, do you think that they're hiding from us, or are we hiding from them?
I think we're hiding from them.
So this is before cleaning my room.
This is horrible. Oh my word. Where does he sleep? But that computer desk is clean. This is unacceptable.
And this is after cleaning my room. Clean my floor.
Good job, buddy.
I removed all the pee over here. I couldn't get rid of the shit stains on the wall. That's just stuck there forever.
Come here.
Got rid of all the trash. There are a bunch of stains on this. I can't get rid of it. It won't come off. But other than all the stains, I think I did pretty good.
Look at that. What is that in the window?
Yeah, we're going inside.
All right, y'all. If my live suddenly goes off, it's because my cats keep messing with my stuff. I don't hear a thing. Y'all hear anything? Okay, but that just sounds like an animal.
No manches, ve.
No mames, ve. ¿Ve eso? Mames, eso está bien cabrón.
No manches, pa. No. Mira. Ay, Dios mío.
Is that a gorilla?
Dios mío.
No te pases de lanza.
Mira.
You keep on screaming, you're gonna be next.
Ay, Dios mío, ve.
Why is he so fake?
Ay, Dios mío de mi vida. No te pases de lanza, ve.
La bestia. ¿Qué es esa madre? Mira. ¿Cómo le está haciendo Naomi? Hay que pasarle por encima. Le pasaría por encima, pero.
Welcome back to the Lugao series, boys. Most of the time, it's jokes, it's fun. But to my Mexican people, what do you guys call Lugaos where y'all at?
Chupacabra.
I know it's Mexico, or that he's Mexican, because he said no mames about 30 million times. You know, when Mexicans say no mames, they're not playing no games. Man's rolling on the ground. I don't know what this Lugao was doing, probably taking his soul. Lugao probably, yo mangel, negla. And then, to make matters worse, you there watching somebody get ate by Lugao, and Dom just screaming next to you. Lady just screaming next to you. Now the Lugao know that you're watching. Now you next. In these situations, you shouldn't make a noise. That's
Right. You should just go away.
If you're
Just
not
leave.
going to leave, don't make a noise. If you're going to sit there and watch, the Lugao, take somebody. Stay quiet or just leave. There's no way you can help him. There's no way you helping that man. Hopefully this reaches Mexican TikTok so y'all can tell me what's going on.
I'm so scared of now.
Yo, that was... Guys, what the fuck?
Shut up,
Hey.
bro. Stop.
Hey, that's actually...
I'm actually scared.
This is literally just somebody doing push-ups.
That's running over here. Wait, I'm gonna lower the window.
Okay,
No
yeah.
one say anything.
Yes, yes, or no? Let's get out of here.
Nah, hey, I feel like he going.
Oh, sensitive content. All right, let's watch it.
Alright, going randonauting. And it took us to this shady park in the middle of nowhere, so let's see what we find. All we see so far is like trees, a bridge. I think we have to go over this bridge.
Wait a minute.
Our location's a little down there. What the?
I seen somebody hiding behind the tree.
Oh, what the fuck? Should we keep going? What the fuck? Oh my god, is she following us?
I would be so scared if that happened.
Noises in the forest. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Made it to the Appalachian Mountains. So far, no skin.
It's time to go now. I mean, anybody can whistle. People will do anything for content. What is that?
At first, I didn't notice anything strange in the video, but then if you zoom in, look at what is over by Carly. This video was taken in the Appalachian Mountains. We all know the eerie mysteries and dark rumors about those woods. You don't go in them alone. This was daytime, but especially at night, there was something in those bushes. And there are all of these rumors about skinwalkers and like all of these supernatural entities in the woods. And whether or not that's true, maybe this is just a stage thing for the internet, but you still have to admit this is really creepy. And it's common knowledge that supernatural entities are more likely to latch onto children because they're easier to like control, because they're innocent and they'll just go along with things. They don't question anything. They're down to believe whatever they see, unlike adults. Follow for more creepy videos.
Hi there. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? No? You don't want to say hi? What was that?
What was that?
Where are you going? Where do you think you're going?
No, I would have to pick my baby up and then leave immediately.
Hey you, come on, let's get out of here. So I'm still walking this trail and I keep hearing that same scream. Here it is again.
Pretty sure that's a bobcat.
This is so freaking crazy. I can't even imagine what it could be. Like, it's definitely not a bird or some kind of animal. What the hell?
You remember that screaming in the forest? And I was like, let's go see what it is.
About a half a mile down from when I first started hearing the screaming. And I don't know if you guys
It's just a fox.
can tell. But that definitely sounds louder. So I am pretty sure that whatever the fuck this is getting a lot closer. Ugh. Okay, so I'm way farther down the trail and that screaming is definitely getting way louder and way closer. Hey, have you been hearing that screaming too?
Where did he pop out?
What is wrong with you? Oh my god!
Are you serious? Oh, close the door. What do you mean hello? Close the door immediately.
This is the true story of the Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are warlocks with the ability to shapeshift and become animals or people. They can not only take your appearance, but also clone your voice perfectly. The biggest Skinwalker sightings have been in Ohio and Arizona, but they are found all over the world. The preferred form of Skinwalkers is that of your pet. They take the form of your pet and enter your home and try to act like your pet to gain your trust, and then they can take your life. Watch how in this video the boy realizes that his dog is a Skinwalker.
Let me see. I'll know if she's my dog. Merlin, sit. Turn around. Turn around. Lay down. You're not my dog. My dog don't know how to do no fucking trick. The fuck? Call 911. Hey! Somebody!
This.
Welcome back to the Lugao series, y'all boys. I know a Lugao when I see one. I know a Skinwalker when I see one. This is the Lugao of the year. We're not even in June yet. You know what this Lugao is waiting for? It's waiting to go to the Four Seasons Orlando. When he turned the corner, if he would have said, who's ready to go to the Four Seasons Orlando? This Lugao would have said, me. Look how this Lugao, you know, when this video started, I thought it was a kid in a pajama set. Because to me, there's no way a dog can be so comfortable to be sitting down
Exactly.
on stairs as if he contemplating life, looking outside the window. He heard him when he was walking around the corner. He was like, oh shit, I hear footsteps. Let me get back into my regular form. He's tired of being a lugao. He been in the lugao for 72 days, trying to convince the man that he a regular dog. Man finally caught up to him.
I like how they
He was
make
on
up
his
these
break.
stories.
He was on his lugao 15-minute break. He got caught lacking. Now he got to go explain to his manager why his owner think he a skinwalker. Y'all be easy.
A couple in South Dakota
People are
woke up
losing
after
their
snowfall
minds.
to find human footprints leading to the door of their house. No person in sight. Upon further investigation, the woman who lives at this house realized these footprints were pointing in opposite directions. Not two footprints of someone coming up to the house and then walking away. One foot pointing towards her house, while the other footprint points away from her house. Not creeped out enough? These aren't shoe prints. These are bare human footprints. He then decides to follow these weird footprints and see where they go. If you're thinking maybe don't do that, it's too late. She done did it. Things going on as she's following these tracks, recording the footprints as she goes. Sometimes there'll be like some deer tracks kind of intermingled along with these footprints. These footprints, again, one pointing one direction, the other foot pointing the opposite direction, will be spaced out pretty far. They'll be really close together and there's no animal tracks anywhere around. Call me crazy, but about halfway through, I swear one of those feet starts to look like a paw print, while the other one still looks like a bare footprint. Don't know what that is. For a little bit, it looks like it's just 1 foot in the snow. Again, I don't know what these things are. To surprise absolutely no one, these people live out in the woods. As creepily as it all begins, she's literally following this to the very last footprint.
And this is where they end.
Also, very obviously like a flurry of like animal activity. You can see all these other little trails crisscrossing. None of those are footprints. This is the last footprint. At the very top of the screen, we're at the tree line. Looks like about like a 15-foot space between the last footprint, followed by a flurry of like animal tracks, and then the woods. And then she turns around one more time to then show you this whole track leading up to the door of her house. Maybe don't visit South Dakota. A couple of
The video you're about to see has only one cut in it, and the reason why is because the original clip is about 15 minutes long, and that's way too much time of the allotted amount of time on TikTok, and it used up a lot of space on my phone, so I had to delete the original footage after condensing this. So you see me leave the shed, and then whatever happens...
Finally, here's the shed moment I've been telling you guys about. Watch this. This is crazy now.
Shed, part 2. Okay, so you guys have been asking me to take you in the shed and leave the phone in there. And I know it's been a little while since I put out a video regarding the shed, but a lot has been happening and I just truly needed some time. So I took it. But just to show you, it is locked, okay? And I'm going to immediately, no cuts, as per usual. Okay, so we are walking.
Look at all those dolls in there.
God, these dolls are creepy. We're gonna walk in. Well, not walk in, but we're in here now. And yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. You guys got a good view, right? Windows, everything. All right. I guess I'll catch y'all. I'm out.
All right, y'all. Watch. Who's moving the camera though?
You want to know about the biological effects of cannibalism? Of course you do. And I want to tell you, so let's answer some questions about the biological effects of cannibalism. Now, for a little recap, if you commit cannibalism and you eat specifically the brains or any part of the spinal cord, you could contract this thing called Kuru disease. Kuru disease being a very deadly brain disease that's transmitted by these things called prions. Prions being proteins in your body that are misfolded or folded incorrectly, because proteins are finicky and they need to be folded properly in order to do their job. Now, not all prions are bad, however, there are different types of prions, both good and bad and neutral. One of those prions being the prion that causes Kuru disease, another prion being a very well-known one that causes mad cow disease. Now, with this information, you're probably thinking, well, if someone were to eat everything except the brain, would they be safe? Well, if you don't eat the brain or the spinal cord, you're pretty safe from Kuru disease. However, like with all meat, improper cooking methods can result in viruses and bacteria spreading to you, along with parasites. And I don't mean the wellness industry type parasites, I mean actual parasites, like a tapeworm. Now, going back to proper cooking methods, because at the end of the day, you should probably not eat other humans, but moving on to cooking methods, because we're sadistic, all we have to do in order to be safe is cook the brains, right? Because heat denatures or breaks apart proteins, right? Well, yes about protein denaturation, but no about it being safe if you cook it. As according to both the Virginia Department of Wildlife and the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality, you would need to absolutely scorch that meat. As in order to denature a prion, you need anywhere between 900 and 1,000 degrees Celsius, and to leave the prion there for hours. So with that information, it's shocking to me whenever I go into the Museum of Death in Hollywood
Exactly.
and see a typical cannibal's menu, which includes brains with almonds and mashed brains. Yeah, okay, have fun with neurodegeneration. You wanna know?
People are not scared enough of the ocean, and I'm here to fix that. Welcome back to another episode of Why I Stay on Land, where I give you some self-inflicted thalassophobia right before bed. Yes, I'm filming in the day so I can give you guys a break. Y'all still gonna be scared. Let's get into it. Remember how we talked
That's
about
what I'm saying.
gigantism in the ocean, and how the things that are so ginormous that we couldn't even fathom are at depths where humans cannot reach. Like, they thrive in the pressure that would explode our brains and melt our skin off. Here is a thought that is going to stick in your mind for the next 2 weeks. So, and this is only if you're a believer, if you're a Christian. If you don't believe that the flood ever happened, that's fine. But still thinking about it is gonna trip you up. So y'all know back then in the times of Noah, everything was bigger, everything was larger, I believe because of the oxygen levels. Because in the ocean, it's larger because of oxygen levels. So the Nephilim, right? There were giants back then. I'm talking about like giants. Fun fact, in the book of Enoch, which is an extra biblical text, in the Apocrypha, which I read as history, not scripture, it says that the giants were like 450 feet tall. Yes, Shingeki no Kyojin style, like Attack on Titan. And I'm a big believer that the giants built the pyramids. Tell me why the Pyramid of Giza is 455 feet tall.
Oh.
Coincidence? I think not. Anyway, I say all that to say, everything that is in the ocean is literally from the times of Noah. Because when the flood came, bro, all the land stuff died, right? But the ocean is the same. The ocean holds memory. Y'all, like, think about being in Point Nemo, right? Point Nemo is the farthest from land you can ever be. Like, they say an astronaut in space is closer than you are to any land. They also use it as like space junk, like you dump space junk at Point Nemo. Who knows what in the world is over there? Almost everything in the ocean at those depths, like the Mariana Trench, have evolved in the dark. And they see you way before you can see them. There are thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of bodies at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, have y'all seen Drake's Passage? I dare you to look up Drake's Passage right now. Come back and tell me that you didn't just poop yourself. Friend, I can smell it through the screen. I can smell it. I know you're terrified.
What is happening?
You got the bloop coming from Antarctica. Everything about Antarctica, honestly, from the land to the water, is a no for me. And this is where I start bringing in other things, like believing that sirens exist. I don't see why you, like, what is so off-putting about believing that sirens are in the water? We literally know nothing about it. Y'all remember when that creator Jay Lee was talking about a follower that gave her an anonymous story where he went on this big fish expedition? They were actually hunting sirens, and then one of the sirens ended up getting hurt, so they brought them to this laboratory, and he saw sea creatures there that he couldn't even describe in words. I believe it, bro. Like I said, you could tell me Bikini Bottom exists, bro. I believe it, because genuinely, why not? Why not? If y'all love this series, go ahead and follow me because you found your people. Because this is exactly why I say people.
Oh my goodness. The Jersey Devil?
You will not have a mirror in the bedroom where you sleep anymore.
Why do you not like mirrors?
There are lots of reasons. When you look back at Victorian morning period, specifically, you stop your clocks, you cover your mirrors. And why? Because you don't
I actually have like
want the
3
spirits to get trapped.
mirrors.
Trapped where?
In the mirror. It's believed it is a vortex that things can come through and things can get trapped in. If you are in a dark room and you're looking in a mirror, if you look long enough, it is said that you can see things moving on the other side.
I've heard this.
And once you know that those things are there, they will notice you.
Oh shit.
I had a bed that had a mirror on the headboard. I laid down to go to sleep, but I woke up because something slapped me across the face. I was alone.
You think something from the mirror?
I mean, I don't know where else it would have come from. You let something slap you across the face and wake you up and find out. You will.
Una grabación difundida en redes sociales causó revuelo al mostrar a una supuesta mujer transformándose en un guajolote en calles de Veracruz. El video de pocos segundos muestra a una anciana caminando por una calle de terracería que, tras agacharse, aparenta convertirse en un ave dejando su ropa en el lugar. La escena generó debate entre internautas. Especialistas señalan que se trata de un video manipulado o creado con inteligencia artificial.
Para más información, síguenos en nuestro sitio.
Una
What are they doing?
Hold it up.
Overnight in the Albert Heijn?
Man schuift gewoon heel diep. Tot hier. Nog niet bewegen. Ja, oké. Nog niet bewegen. Nog niet bewegen. Nog niet bewegen. Beweeg. Wacht, die alarm gaat op. Wacht. Stille alarm waarschijnlijk. Persen. We zijn. What the fuck? We zijn. Hoezo gaat die alarm weer af? Mensen, waarom gaat die alarm af? Ja.
They should have known better.
As long as you're okay with me being 14, because it's my birthday.
You okay with me? 24. Happy birthday to you. What's your name? Sorry. Carly.
You don't know my name.
Happy birthday.
I wish for a bunch of people to come out of that room right now.
Bunch of people.
Yeah.
You already have.
Yeah, I'm really
Surprise.
excited.
Oh, the popper's not working.
No, why?
How's it going, Simran?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad.
Been alright?
So Simran, man, just tell me, like, what are you here to do apart from celebrate her 14th birthday?
I'm just here to celebrate. He said he's here, but so I just come bring the.
Do you think it's appropriate for a 24-year-old to be hanging out with a 14-year-old?
I'm just hanging as a friend. I didn't say anything. I mean, friends can be whatever age. I have like few other friends. As I said, I have a 17-year friend as well.
Okay, so you're trying to upgrade a 17-year-old friend? You're not having anything like, have you heard of Diddy?
No.
You're not having a Diddy party with him?
Diddy party means?
Hanging out with a 14-year-old girl as a friend, that's a little bit, how's it going? But the part that I can't understand is why you sent photos to her. Yeah. So this right here, will this be your?
Yeah, I think I sent you this one.
I mean, you said over here that if she
Jail,
doesn't do her
exactly.
schoolwork, you will punish her. A message that you sent today before coming here was you almost wanted her to scam her mum. You said something about stealing her mum's money.
No, like you can read the chat like the way I said to her.
Good. He went to jail.
You want to see my pussy before you hang up?
I don't know how that got
You guys
in
not
there.
order it?
No, we ain't ordering no podcast. You can go ahead and get off this property, though.
Oh, my fault. Do you want it by chance or no? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. That was quick. Is he that pissed?
Why is he getting undressed? What is he gonna do?
That's a KKK member. Bro, is he, what is he throwing up? What is he throwing up? What the f? That guy was definitely a member. Barry didn't get it on camera, but the guy started chasing the van. All jokes aside, right now, we're currently being followed. So he's taking every single turn. He's following us right now. That is insane.
Oh,
What?
he just waved to me.
Just go back towards the town. Just keep going. Just keep going. Is he still following?
Yeah.
We're done with this bit. Like, this is all.
Y'all better be
jokes aside,
careful.
bro. I
That's
think that guy was
scary.
actually a Klansman. Did you
People.
Is this a joke? Why would you even bring me this? I mean, literally,
Are you
a waste of
serious
time.
right now, Jacob?
Yeah, I'm serious. Are you serious? You really just brought me that? Where are we going?
We're going to school.
School?
Yeah, I need to teach you a lesson. You know, look, I've had it for 25 years. You ain't had it for 25 months.
Ooh.
Why you walking down the stairs like that, bro?
Shut up, bro.
Okay.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing? Good? Good, thanks. Nice to meet you.
Oh. Are we done?
Amazing. My name is Ralph.
No, nice.
We're
All right, someone sent me
done.
another Pekong video. Let's
Oh, no,
take
we're
a
not.
look and see what happens. For one, why are you chilling outside with it? Why is it looking at you like that? And why are you doing nothing? That is terrifying.
I kind of feel like this is fake.
What was that? Wait. What was that? It's literally, oh, okay. All right. It looks like this is from the same person, but another Pekong experience. I don't know if he hunts these or what. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
No, what is this?
Yeah, sure. Let's poke the bear. Yeah, let's poke the bear. Why? Look at the face on that thing. That's actually terrifying. And there's like lights all around behind it. I don't know if those are stars or something else. Why?
I don't know what kind of ritual this is, but looks pretty creepy. Oh. One of those.
Sir. Is this your...
So I just read through the Epstein files, and it literally says they are killing kids, white kids, eating them, and having sex with the dead bodies. I don't think you hear me. They're killing the kids.
I don't want to hear that.
You done met up with Jaden. That's it. You know what this means, guys. You know what this means. Later, Kai. They almost got away with this picture, guys. What do you see? Look at Kai's hand. Look at Jaden's hand. You know what time is it. And this was before he switched up on us. And why is he walking around with a journal in his hand? He couldn't leave that in the car. Of course he couldn't. He's taking notes. Shh. Shut up. What's up with his eyes? You know what they say, guys. The eyes don't lie. And Kai looks disconnected. Shh. What happened to AMP? What happened to your peoples, bro? I wonder what they have to say about this. Or can they say something about this? Because I haven't heard none of them speak. And I know they feel the same way everybody else feels. This is the Kai that we know. The Kai that was streaming, having fun, doing this thing. Now he's all serious, taking pictures, holding journals. I mean, look at this picture, guys. Kai is smiling and Jaden looks really serious, like, yeah, we got you now, Kai. Kai was the reason why people started streaming. What if him stepping away makes other streamers step away and go the same route? Something to think about when there's nothing to think about, guys, because this video is for entertainment purposes only, and I'm happy for Kai. He stepped his game up. He matured at a young age. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about this. I'm out.
You see, John had a problem. He was by a group of people called the Sentinelese, and nobody did anything about it. You see, the Sentinelese are a tribe of people that live on an island that has no contact with the outside world. But see, John's a missionary and thought, okay, if they don't have contact with the outside world, then they don't know about Jesus in them. So John decides to fly to India since it's close to the Sentinelese people's island. Now, this part's important. The Sentinelese people live on an island called North Sentinel Island. This is part of a larger island chain called the Andaman Islands. But see, the people in the Andaman Islands have contact with the outside world. The people in the Sentinel Islands don't have contact with anybody, not even the people in the Andaman Islands. They are literally all by themselves. As soon as John touches down in India, they say, okay, John, what you here for? John says, I'm just passing through. I'm trying to go to, listen closely, the Andaman Islands. The Indian government says, okay, no problem, but don't go to the Sentinel Islands. That's illegal. You see, the Indian government banned people from going to the Sentinel Island. And you'll find out why in a second. John said, illegal? That's too bad for y'all, because I'm going anyway. John already knew it was illegal. He said, I'm still going. John flies over to the Andaman Island. The people in the Andaman Island said, damn, bro, we don't get too many visitors. What you here for? John said, sightseeing. Can y'all show me where the Sentinel Island's at? They said, we could show you, but we can't take you. It's illegal. He said, of course, of course. They said, there go to Sentinel Island right there. It's across the water from us. John said, I bet, I'm finna need a boat. They said, what? He said, I said, LeBron the GOAT. John goes over to look for a boat. John finds two fishermen. He said, look, y'all, I need y'all to take me to Sentinel Island. They said, what? You know that's illegal. You gonna pay my bail? John said, I got $400 US. I don't know how much bail costs, but they said, say no more. You have me at US dollars. Hop on the boat. So John and the fishermen approach the Sentinel Island. The Sentinelese people see John and the fishermen pulling up. They start bringing out their bows and arrows, start moving aggressively. They're like, John said, you think they're trying to tell me to pull up? The fisherman said, nah, I think they're trying to tell you to stay here. John said, what y'all know? John hops on a canoe. He gets a little bit closer. Now, at this point, the Sentinelese people, they saying, John said, okay, raise the roof. All right, look, check it out, y'all. I got a Bible here. I just wanted to tell y'all about Jesus. That's when the Sentinelese really get to knucking and bucking. They pull out the bows and arrows. They say, ooh, if you come on this island, ooh. John said, oh, them folk tripping. He leaves. The fisherman said, that's what we was trying to tell you. Them folk like that. John said, so's my Lord and Savior. We're spinning the block and coming back another day. John was not finished. He comes back another day. The fishermen tell him, John, we appreciate the cash, no refunds, but you can't go out there. John said, watch me. John takes the canoe again. He approaches the Sentinelese people. The Sentinelese people look at each other. They say, he's stupid. Stay over there. John said, okay, I'm just going to come a little bit closer. He brings out his Bible and starts to sing. He said, how great is... Boom! They shoot an arrow at bro. But the arrow hits John's Bible and he swims away. And here's where things start to get wicked. You see, they didn't accidentally hit John's Bible. That was their target. They didn't want to hurt him. They wanted him to go away. You see, there's a reason why the Indian government made it illegal for people to have contact with the Sentinelese. It's because their immune systems are not built to handle the diseases that humans in the world carry today. And the Sentinelese people know that because this British dude, Maurice, in the 1800s, pulled up to the Sentinel Islands, took 4 people. He gave them smallpox. 2 of them, he said, send the other 2 back to the island. The other 2 were coughing, sick. He said, send them back. Maurice then visits a tribe close by the Sentinelese, wipes out the entire population. Maurice said, damn, he wrote in his diary, yeah, it seems that we get people sick, but we the British since the 1800s, we finna pull up anyway. So after witnessing all this, you can probably understand why the Sentinelese don't want people approaching the island. Now, the crazy part is, despite witnessing all this, the Sentinelese people seem pretty chill. Indian anthropologists visited them in the 90s. Look at bro shaking hands. He said, what's good with y'all? Hey, we don't want y'all visiting, but like, we cool. The Indian people start giving them coconuts. The Sentinelese people like, appreciate y'all. But one of the Sentinelese people brings out some real sharp dough and starts putting it around his heart, saying, One of the Indian anthropologists like, oh, I think we gotta go, y'all. The Sentinelese tribe's like, yes, y'all gotta go, but we appreciate y'all, you know. But unlike those Indian anthropologists, John didn't take the hint and decides to go a 3rd time. And well, that was that. The next time they found John, he was on the beach of the island. The Indian government pulls up to the Andaman Islands. They said, what happened? They said, John went to Sentinel Island. India said, oh. The United States pulls up. They said, what happened to our citizen? You know we don't play. They said, he went to Sentinel Island. United States said, oh, that's that island where you're not supposed to, you know. India said, yeah. We went over to the island too to get his remains for y'all. The Sentinelese people was not having it, but we did manage to get his diary. United States government looked at his diary and said, I know what I'm doing is illegal. If they catch me slipping, don't be mad at the Sentinelese. The United States said, no, we're not mad. The United States and the Indian government figured, well, he was warned a bunch of times. What can you do? In fact, His parents, John's parents, weren't even upset at the Sentinelese or John. They were upset at the evangelical church, who they believe radicalized him. In fact, even after he passed, some members of the evangelical church were praising him, and he became a martyr in some people's eyes. Now, at the end of the day, John got for what he believed in, but to me, he was no different than that dude from the 1800s that went to the Sentinelese island. Because even though both men knew what might happen to the Sentinelese people if they went to the island, they went anyway. Because in their minds, their beliefs were worth risking the Sentinelese people's lives. But as we saw from what happened to John, the Sentinelese people disagreed. You see,
yeah, I thought I seen that.
How's it going? Searching for Rolex. Hello. How's it going? Amazing.
I like watches, y'all. All right.
Hello, gents. How's it going?
This bum-ass boy brought me out to eat.
And I know the sun's not out right now, but I'd love for your son to be in me.
Ooh. No. I think we're done, you guys.
Okay, hold on
wait,
a second.
wait.
Hey, Eliza. What? Do you remember the day you were born?
No, but I remember when the earth would open and I crawled out of hell.
Perfect ending, you guys. All right, it's been 3 hours of live. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.